Welcome to the Non-Sequitur Show. Continual watching beyond this point may result in terminal face palming and a complete loss of wokeness. You have been warned.
Welcome, everyone. Yeah, this is going to be an interesting show, I think. I've been looking forward to this. One, I get to spend some time with my quality buddy here. And second, I really do want to talk about this topic because I haven't talked about this in a while. One of the reasons being is I already think I know the answer to this question, but I have brought some experts in to kind of talk about the state of flat Earth and maybe do a little flat Earth Requiem. As you guys may know by the icon over here, I have the amazing, the wonderful, the intelligent, the brilliant, and kind of decent guy, Rhetoric in the house. Rhetoric! Did I do that right? Was that good enough? He told me he told me to sell this.
I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess, but you be calling me decent, huh? You're making me blush, dude.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with myself. All this love. Oh my god, it's so much.
It's better than what other people have said. Oh, dun. And we also have, which I didn't have time to put a little border around, but we also have the amazing Astronomy Live with us. Super programmer, supposedly. Astro guy, I don't know. He's just a smart dude. But that's actually your photograph, though. So, right? That yeah. ISS. Okay. Anyways, hi. Yeah. How you been doing, Astronomy Live?
Thank you. I've been doing great. I just filmed this clip this morning, as a matter of fact. So
that is awesome.
Yeah, it's perfectly fitting that we're discussing this topic right after I got this shot this morning. Probably the best shot I've ever got of the
That's
space
clear.
station.
That's
so,
amazing.
Yeah. It was a perfectly clear morning. The tracking was perfect. The focus was perfect. It just all lined up very nicely. So yeah, it's been a great day for me. I'm very happy with that result.
I can imagine. I mean, that's really high res. I've seen blurrier shots, but that one's amazing. So I want to start this off. I will be letting people know. I will tell them that if you guys want to join us, I've given some consideration. I will probably give the link to the Hangout if you want to join. The only person on camera is me, so it doesn't matter if we have a camera or not. I'm not going to be showing the Hangout, but if you want to join to ask questions, then yeah, I might be opening it up. But I do have 3 questions to ask Reds first. Is that okay, Astronomy Live? I have to ask Reds 3 questions?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. Reds, I don't want to put you on the spot here, brother. Okay.
Oh, fuck.
But I got 3 questions I got to ask you. Okay. And so, you know the rule. You got to tell me the truth, right? This is a truth or dare. You don't get a dare. You just have to do the truth. Okay. What?
It's okay. So the answer number 1 is it's kind of short, wrinkled, and a little to the left.
Oh, really? Is the address to the right? Oh, I'm sorry. We're not talking about that. Okay. So, first question. Is the Earth still not flat? Because the reason I ask is I know you were late. I know you were taking measurements. I know you were actually involved with something just a little while ago, similar to what we're talking about. So I have to make sure so I don't look like a jackass. That
we don't want to talk about what I was just involved in.
That sucked, dude. I do feel bad for you. But
I drove 6 hours for nothing.
I asked you if you wanted to talk about it. You're like, no, I don't want to bring it up. And here he is. Yeah, I drove 6 hours for nothing. Yeah, okay.
Pretty much.
You can tell. You can tell.
SpaceX put a fucking. They pulled a fucking bait and switch on my ass, and now I'm left with no footage.
I was going to say, full disclaimer: my software performed exactly as it was designed to. There were no flaws there.
Yeah, okay? your shit worked. Okay. Yeah, your shit worked. But SpaceX clearly, well. Yeah, I guess it worked, but not the way that they had planned. I think
they hate me. Anyway,
they do. No, I think they don't. They hate you. I don't know. One of those organizations hates you. I don't know. I keep track of who likes whom or who doesn't. But I know you had some pretty interesting videos that, you know, at one time they took notice that you actually had managed to accomplish. And your ISS Transit has like what, 2 million views?
Yeah, it has 2.7 million.
2.7 million views for an ISS Transit. You know.
Oh wait, let me correct that. The SpaceX Falcon Heavy landing has 2.7 million. The ISS Transit has over 3.5 million.
That's unbelievable. How many? Okay, I had a launch named after me. It was a Delta 4 Steve's launch. That had like 3 views, I think.
Yeah, something around there. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, hey, it was a thought that counts, right? So, but you haven't answered. I noticed you've been dodging the question here, Reds. Did you finally take some measurements that maybe had got you questioning whether the Earth is flat or not? Because you haven't answered the question. Is the Earth still not flat?
Listen, this is like a question: does the bear not shit in the woods? Look, the Earth is still a globe. It has always been a globe. It will forever be a globe. When people say do your own research, I have done that very thing. I even use their camera of choice, the Nikon P1000, which some people believe is the second coming of fucking Jesus Christ. They don't seem to understand that the camera has very clear limitations, but nonetheless, I still used it. And I guess one of my most famous examples was the Tampa Bay skyline, where, you know, damn near 300 feet of the fucking towers are disappeared behind the horizon. Gee, I wonder why. Could it be the curvature of the Earth? I think so. A blink test is amazing.
Did the P1000 just supersede the P900? Because the P900 was supposed to be the mystical camera of flat earthers' choice.
The P900 was supposed to be the mystical camera, and then Nikon was like, "Yo, there's a bunch of dipshits that just want a bigger version of this. So let's make the P900 a 1000 by making it slightly bigger and sell it. And dude, profits through the fucking roof." And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I'm sure they sold a lot. Okay, the second question: is Flat Earth dead?
Flat Earth is dead, yes, but only in a certain aspect, which we'll get into later.
All right, fair enough. Yeah, that's kind of the topic. So I do want to get more into that because there's been some interesting developments, so to speak, and certain flat earthers that decided basically to take their fuckery to the grave, and I mean that very, very literally. Yes. And so we're going to be talking about that. And so last but not least, and this is the most important question I think this is actually a bigger question than the flat Earth, and I think people really do want to know this question, the answer to this. So please, be honest here. Reds, are you still ugly?
Yes, Putin has been using pictures of my face, and that's why he is deemed a war criminal.
All right. I mean, if you're using your face for the Ukraine war, that definitely violates Geneva Convention. That is inhumane. That's barbaric. This is another reason why we should all be hating Russia right now and Putin. Yeah, I mean, if they're using you,
Yep. And by the way, in all seriousness, glory to Ukraine and Putin, go fuck yourself.
Yes, I'm very much pro Ukraine. Yes.
Go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself, Putin. Seriously, go fuck yourself.
It's funny. I don't really do the whole symbolism type thing. I find that a lot of the symbolic gestures are just that. They're symbolic, and I get it. But I have added the Ukrainian flag to my Twitter because I do think that in certain types of things, it does really help to show support, whether they see it or not. And I stand with Ukraine.
It's literally this. Putin needs to fuck off. Then he needs to keep fucking off. And he needs to keep fucking off until he gets to a gate with a sign that says, "You can't fuck off past here." And then he needs to climb over that gate, dream the impossible dream, and keep fucking off forever.
Now, it is true, though. He is on the other side of the world, right? I mean, the other side.
Well, since there's hey, listen, even though there's really no end to the Earth because, it's a fucking sphere, there's always the ocean. Just walk in there and let the ocean do its job.
Do you know? It's kind of weird. A lot of people don't really realize how close Russia actually is to America if you count Alaska on
Alaska.
Right? Yeah, I mean, it's really not that far. I mean, sure, you're not going to go outside and go, "Oh, look, there's the Kremlin." But I mean, as far as being able to transverse that, it's you could do it in probably a
before this shit show actually became a shit show. There was discussions about building a bridge that would link Alaska and Russia together.
Yeah, well, that would have been cool for trade too and stuff, and just
probably. I imagine would have been an engineering nightmare considering the environment, but
by the way, Reds, I'm actually kind of surprised people remember who you are. This person has said, Reds, you had the best flat Earth debates.
Ah, thank you very much.
Well, I think that actually you went on top on that too. And I remember asking you if you still want to do some debates, and yeah, you may in the future, but you were like, yeah, what else I got to do? It's like, and I was like, I respected that. So in that vein, and we'll get Astronomy Live to kind of weigh in on this as well. I look at the flat earthers right now and I don't see a lot of activity. And again, maybe it's just me that I don't deal with them, but I don't see it prevalent as it once was. I see a few YouTubers that I have absolutely no interactions with, nor do I ever want to have any interactions with, to still do flat earth type discussions. But other than that, I just don't see it, how it was back in, our day, 4 years ago or so. Man, flat earth was being pushed everywhere. So what kind of happened, dude?
Well, the answer to that is actually quite simple, and then we're going to have to struggle to stretch it for 2 fucking hours. But
have you heard me before? I can do that.
I mean, hey, listen.
At least a solid 90 minutes.
It is what it is. But essentially what happened was this. At the very beginning, flat earthers were just starting out with pushing their garbage. I mean, they started with the easy shit like, why do rockets curve when going into space? As if orbits weren't a thing. So they started out with some simple shit like that, and then eventually got to more complex shit where you had to memorize equations, alpha equals 2 times the arctan of G over 2R, to debunk their bullshit, because they're coming up with a pseudo definition of perspective and trying to push that as some sort of proof that the earth is flat somehow. We still don't exactly know how they make that work, because they quite frankly don't. But basically it all comes down to this. Flat earthers have run out of material. And when I say flat earth is dead, I mean that in a very specific way. Flat earth is always going to be entertaining to shit on. That shit's never going to stop being funny.
I'm going to agree with you on that.
Yes. That is quality entertainment. That's
quality fuckery right there.
That is quality fuckery. And here's the thing. It's no different than dealing with Sci 10's bullshit. Sci 10's going to keep coming back peddling the same garbage over and over and over again with his presuppositionalism. But every time he gets his ass handed to him in a philosophical debate, that shit's fun and entertaining.
I do like watching Sci get his shit kicked in. And all cards on the table. People know I actually like Sci. I actually get along with Sci. But watching him get his shit kicked in when he starts doing his precept stuff, yeah, I get a little enjoyment out of it. He knows that.
And it's the same exact thing with Jeranism, deep inside the rabbit hole, and others. They have essentially run out of material. Everything that they're saying now has been debunked going back to 2018, 2017, and so on. When people say that, oh, the International Space Station doesn't exist, we have Astronomy Live's footage that goes way before we were talking about flat Earth damn near full time on YouTube. When people say that the ISS is at a lower altitude than what the nameless, faceless they are telling you, that was debunked back in 2018 when myself and Astronomy Live measured the altitude of the International Space Station. And then we did that shit again in 2020. So not only was it debunked in 2018, but it was debunked again in 2020 using a different observation at a different location with different equipment. The results were the same. And again,
you did the math. You actually did the math involved knowing your locality, where you should expect from the different distance that you guys had, and take the angular view of it and say, okay, based upon where we are located, we can measure how far something is away, because you can both measure the ISS transient at the exact same time.
Exactly. Yeah. Now, whenever people come to those videos, they always have the same watered down, chop, cut, repeat bullshit responses that they always had, which was, oh, fake, oh, CGI, when our response has always been the same. Do it yourself. Because here's the thing. While it is nice to have an Astronomy Live on your side and have access to his really badass telescopes and stuff, and also his vast knowledge of this shit, you actually don't need a Megadeth scope like what Astronomy Live has to do these observations. You don't. You can do these with a simple tripod, a weight and a string, and a protractor, and you would be able to get similar results. Granted, you may not be as accurate as we are. However, accuracy was not the name of the game for that particular observation. It was just to get a ballpark estimate of its altitude and to answer a single question. Is the ISS at an altitude that is impossible for a plane to reach? And the answer was yes, because it was over 400 kilometers. That's around 250 miles up. And if you were to do simple searches on Google, you could see like Spaceship One from Virgin Galactic. The Richard Branson guy, the CEO, he has that particular company. His max altitude is, I think just over 100 kilometers, barely, maybe even a little bit under that, like maybe around 80 or 90 kilometers. That's its max altitude. And once it gets to that altitude, it can't maintain it. It will start falling back to Earth. That's how you experience 0G on that flight. Well, our observation conclusively determined that is way higher than that. The ISS is over 400 kilometers in altitude.
And that's 4 times past the Kármán line.
Yeah, and keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. We have given this exact challenge to flat earthers to simply do the observation themselves since 2018. And instead of actually doing the observation, they keep coming back to us with this prepackaged garbage of rebuttals that doesn't actually rebut the observations. It doesn't rebut the math. And so at the end of the day, they're just out of material. The last thing they want to do is actually do it. And that's the one thing they will not do because it would fuck with their flat earth bullshit.
Yeah, I know.
So they're literally out of ideas. And that's just one example.
Astronomy Live makes a good point in the live chat. He says, and the algorithm actually suppresses it too, which I do want to get to. April Von Rains for 5 Canadian says, the reason flat earth seems less prevalent is because the word collectively said, or the word, I think the world collectively said, I'm sick of your bullshit, Sheriff. Yeah, and I think there's actually some truism to that. I think that because I think what happened was flat earthers were their own worst enemies. And by getting them out in the forefront to people, and people were seeing them and how dumb they were, it had like the same effect of like MAGA, right? If you're looking at the MAGA people and the Trump people, normal, reasonable people are looking at these people going, you people are fucking idiots. And so I think that's kind of what happened with the flat earther things. When people did start taking a little bit of notice about the flat earthers, most people said, yeah, we're sick of your bullshit. This is stupid. You people are idiots. And it kind of killed that a little bit. Now, as far as the algorithm, Astronomy Live, I mean, you're since you do know a lot about the programming stuff, have you seen the algorithm really actively suppress flat earth channels or just like it's not suppressing the debates, but the channels that were flat earth, are they not monetized any longer, or they're not making revenue on it? Is that why they kind of gave up?
Well, what I mean when I say that is in terms of the search engine on YouTube. It's in my opinion, and in some analysis I've done, it granted a lot of it's anecdotal, but it does seem to point to the fact that they did something, and they've said that. They've even said this publicly, that they will push down fringe content, specifically flat earth. In fact, I think they've called that out by name, and suppress it in the search results. So I can tell you stories of how, for example, somebody would do a rebuttal video to one of my videos, and I didn't notice for months, and I will like search my own name and stuff on YouTube on occasion. Used to do it a lot more frequently, have less time to do it now, but I'll search my own name, or I'd even run bots to search my own name just to see what kind of results you get. Also switching, and this was interesting, switching VPNs from, say, the US to another country, and you get a very different order of search results depending on what locality you appear to be searching from. And it seemed that they started experimenting with this in the US and may have brought it further afield from there. But the point is that there were videos that would escape my attention, even if they directly mentioned me in the title and called me out and tried to rebuttal something I had posted. And it would escape my attention for months because it was so suppressed in the search results. You could almost search for the exact name of it and you wouldn't see it. So that's what I mean when I say it's suppressed in the search results. And I think that has had a demoralizing effect on their community, on top of the fact that, as Red pointed out, they're running out of content to farm. Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate for a moment because I think there's going to be a resurgence, but it may take a different form. And it's much like the Nibiru stuff and the Planet X stuff. It used to be real popular about 2012 in that era, and it went away. You noticed how that started to trail off because it sort of had its own expiration date on the 10. 2012, we're still here 10 years later. it's expired. No one goes in for that anymore, really. That sort of naturally declined without any kind of active suppression from YouTube because it came with an expiration date. But a lot of those people, I think, and this is just my opinion, I think a lot of them morphed into Flat Earth after that. And there are some concrete examples of that. Claudia Albers is probably one of the more well-known examples. She was a real big proponent of Planet X and Nibiru conspiracy theories on YouTube several years ago. And she started late in her so-called YouTube career to transition away from that. And you actually could find clips of her starting to claim things like SpaceX Dragon capsules are fake, they're mock-ups, they're not real. The ISS is fake, they're not really in space. You made a video about that. Exactly. So there you have a very good case in point of someone who was not only into that, but actually promoting Nibiru and Planet X stuff and using NASA spacecraft as the source of her content for years. A lot of her content was all about the Solar Dynamics Observatory and images from that and making, conspiracy claims about those images, to then transition to saying these satellites are all fake. Well, those are contradictory positions, but it took on a new form of conspiracy, and it was all anti-authoritarian and sort of, paranoid in that sense, and taken to an extreme, right? It just took on a new form. And what I think is going to happen in the near future is it will take on another new form, perhaps, and that will happen when there's more content to farm. And what's going to happen? Well, if things continue as they are, the Artemis program is going to start launching astronauts back to the moon. Hopefully we'll see landings on the moon, astronauts back on the lunar surface. And you're going to have, in my opinion, a resurgence of some form that will look similar to Apollo hoax belief.
Yeah, China's supposed to be sending some manned mission to the moon, are they not?
Yeah, there's talk over there to do. I mean, there's talk in Russia too, yeah. And I don't know how well those are going to materialize. I think China's probably a more realistic competitor than Russia, to be honest, in a lot of these things. But yeah, I mean, and even setting that aside, like, we know the Artemis program is moving forward in some fashion. The SLS, its first big test is coming up, and they're already bidding now. They're starting to. Well, I don't know if they're actively bidding, but they're going to be bidding for a second lunar lander now. So these things are making progress, and it's going to take longer than they think. But at some point, I expect we will see astronauts and taikonauts and all of this on the moon, and it's going to be generating more content than even Apollo, because this time they're going to be coming in with digital cameras. You're going to see high resolution images, and you're not going to have to wait for the mission to get back to develop the film, right? It's going to be in real time.
Yeah, real time, high definition.
Right.
I do have a super chat. I'm going to hold on to the super chat for just a second, but because I want to ask you about those people that are pushing the whole Nibiru thing. That has been around for quite some time, and there's been many iterations of doomsday type things. I mean, I've literally have survived like a 24 failed prophecies and doomsday events. We're still around. I mean, one of the first ones I remember growing up, they had talked about, probably before your guys' time, but they had what's called the Jupiter effect, I think it was called, that when the planets had the superior conjunction, that all the combined gravitational force of Jupiter and Saturn and all these other planets were going to cause huge tidal waves on the Earth and catastrophic earthquakes, and nothing happened. But that was one of the big initial prophecies I remember growing up. But the whole Nibiru thing, what happens to those people that were so adamant about it, saying, "Oh, look, we have Nibiru coming in and all this other stuff," and all of a sudden, like you said, it had an expiration date, or the whole Mayan doomsday clock? Do they rewrite the history? They just hope people forget about it? How do they get around that?
I'll give you a perfect example of this.
Please.
Eddie Bravo. A lot of people know Eddie Bravo, right? He's been on Joe Rogan, very popular figure. So if you look at his history, it's a little hard for me to dig into some of that, what he used to believe, but there are signs that he was a Planet X guy. He set up a Planet X
Did
martial
he write
arts.
some songs?
He might have, and I know he set up a Planet X jiu-jitsu type thing, and had a 10th planet jiu-jitsu and this kind of thing. So he was heavily into that. And if you look at his interviews and the way he says things like, "Oh, he used to be really into astronomy. He used to love all the space stuff until he realized it was fake." What he really means, the translation from, frankly, BS to reality is, I used to be really into Planet X and Nibiru, and I thought I knew more about astronomy than all the astronomers. I thought I was the expert. And then I come to find out it's all fake. I'm still the expert, but now my secret information has transitioned from believing in Planet X to believing astronomy itself is fake. So when prophecy fails there, and prophecy, when prophecy fails, great book, everyone should read it. When it failed here, it didn't transition them into now believing astronomy was telling them the truth all along. No. That would be too much of a blow to the ego for some of these people, etc. No, they weren't wrong because astronomers were right. They were wrong because astronomers were lying about everything.
Including Nibiru, including Jupiter, including Saturn. The planets are just balls of light in the sky. The telescopes are all lying to us, etc. And so I think that kind of transition is what we could be looking at in the future, where the flat earthers still don't default or don't come back to reality and say, oh, astronomers were telling the truth. The Earth's round and they're telling the truth. No, space is still fake. And you see a lot of this on Twitter. You can see a lot of people tweeting space is fake. It's like a meme. Yeah, Bev is one of those guys.
And when more content it comes up for them to generate their own content, when Artemis is going strong, when there's missions landing on the moon, that's going to be a minefield for them to claw through and try to find anything they can point to as an inconsistency or Elon Musk joking about it looking fake. They will run with that stuff. And so one of my goals for the future is to get better and better, which I think I'm doing a good job of, at documenting missions currently happening so that when Starship starts launching, when SLS starts launching, I can film that and show it parking itself in low Earth orbit, then going out to the moon, then coming back from the moon, tracking these things in deep space, independently measuring their distance from Earth, their altitude, etc., and documenting that for not only for posterity, but also to get ahead of a lot of the claims that will be coming down the pike, because they're going to claim that it's all fake. And one of the popular forms that took in Apollo hoax belief was the belief that they stayed in low Earth orbit, that they never left low Earth orbit. They went to space, but they never left low Earth orbit. Well, I can track them going out to deep space. I've written the program for tracking near Earth comets and asteroids, and it works just as well at tracking spacecraft in deep space heading out to planets and stuff. I've tracked the Perseverance rover leaving the Earth-Moon system, and I've independently measured its distance and stuff. So all of this to me is a practice run for what's coming in the future, because in my opinion, it's coming back, but in a different form. And I think it's important for amateur astronomers like me who have the equipment to do it to independently document this. Because like Red said, when it comes to flat Earth stuff, all you need is a piece of string and a protractor, and it doesn't take very advanced equipment to figure out this was wrong, right? In order to document spacecraft that are going beyond low Earth orbit into deep space and coming back, that requires more significant equipment for sure.
And knowledge level. I mean, I don't know any flat earther that has any understanding of telemetry or any understanding of orbital mechanics or any understanding of programming either. I mean, actually, there might be some that actually can program. And if obviously, and I don't mean to be disparaging to you, but if you can do this, anybody can. I don't mean to be derogatory on that. What I mean to be it's objective, right? And in fact, I learned a little programming just to do certain things, and some of the things were based upon help from you and from Roof, and I wanted to learn it, right? I have never programmed in Python before ever, but over 3 days I did it enough to where at least I had an understanding of the concept. So if a flat earther really wanted to do this, they could. If they wanted to do an ISS measurement like you guys did, they could. And from what I understand, you've challenged them to go take these measurements, to go find out when the ISS transit is, go out there and have two people taking independent measurements, and by the measure between the two, and they can see the altitude. But we'll put a pin in that for a second, unless you guys want to say.
But here's the thing. Just remember what Astronomy Live said. We're already in the process of predicting what they're going to say, and the reason is simple: because they've said it before. When they were saying that, all astronomers, all telescopes are lying to you. This shit was discussed and debunked, basically ripped to shreds, back on November 3rd, 2015. Now, why that date specifically? Because that was the upload date of World of Batshit Space Denial from Cool Hard Logic. So we're already going back. We're going back to the point where we're saying, we've seen this shit before.
Yeah. You
guys, basically, whether it's the new Artemis moon missions, whether it's the Perseverance rover, whether it's the mission or the launch of Lucy, it doesn't matter what it is. It's this canned response all the fucking time, to the point where you can literally predict this way ahead of time so that you can, quote unquote, get ahead of it and prepare yourself for the clear and obvious bullshit rebuttals that they're going to bring to the table. That's why I say flat Earth is dead, is because there's no surprise to it. The last surprise that I got out of flat Earth was Jeranism stupid. Everyone has their own personal dome thing. See, normally flat earthers like to say that there's one dome over the supposed bullshit flat Earth, but now there's many domes for all peoples of the fucking planet. How that works, no one knows. That was the last true surprise that I got from flat Earth BS. But if you look at Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole and all of his memes, when you look at Jeranism, when you look at Bob Nodell, they haven't changed their tune. They haven't brought anything new to table for, I'm going to go ahead and say maybe 4 years, somewhere around there. So you can, just like Astronomy Live just said, you can predict based on the events that are coming up what their objections are going to be. That's why I say flat Earth is dead, is because there's like, hey, you know, this is a really good meal. I really like this. Okay, I've been having the same meal for 4 years now. It's starting to get a little bland and tasteless. Can we at least put some flaming hot Cheetos on it just to spice things up?
Yeah, there's not much under the sun. So did I miss the boat on making swag where I can have like a hat that has like an individual dome, like a personalized dome, like under the dome, so everybody can wear a hat? Did I miss the boat on that? Because that would have been a brilliant idea. You got your own little personalized dome, individual dome.
Hey, listen, we can go ahead and make that swag, and I'll be the first one to promote it. But the fact is that was the last honest to God surprise. What do you even say to that other than you're wrong?
It's Jeranism. Look, I am convinced Jeranism is 100% incontrovertibly lying through his ass. He is, to me, the biggest Poe when it comes to flat Earth. He knows it's all bullshit. He doesn't care. He's making bank off of what he was. It may not be as popular as he was, but I mean, back in the day, I am absolutely convinced he's full of shit. Now, you and I don't know if we agree upon that or not. You know much more about Jism than I do, but I can, just from my experience with him, he's so dishonest to the point he knows he has to be dishonest. He's Amber Heard level dishonest, you know?
There was one point of honesty from him, and it was actually on the Non-Sequitur Show. When myself and Jeranism, when we had our debate, and he said that his position, his side, doesn't have a model.
Yeah, I know. I remember that.
Right there.
I remember that very distinctly.
There.
Yeah.
If you do not have a model that can make accurate predictions, shut up.
Yeah, I remember that.
That basically brings something to the table that we can actually use, because all you're doing is rehashing the same already debunked nonsense that we have gone over more and more times than I care to count. Like, for example, zooming in further brings things back over the horizon. We have had Nikon P900s, Nikon P1000s, and huge ass fucking telescopes all at Cape Canaveral looking over the water, different levels of zoom, same level of, hey, this shit's beyond the curve. We're not bringing it back, even with a increasing power of magnification. It doesn't work. Debunked. Again, that was back in 2014.
I filmed a Falcon 9 landing on a drone ship just a few miles offshore, and the bottom of the rocket is obscured by the curvature of the ocean.
Yeah, go figure.
Yeah, exactly.
With an 8-inch telescope.
So we have telescopes, we have Nikons, we've done this shit before. I did my Tampa Bay blink test, as I said previously, and I did that. I tried it at multiple different zoom levels, and if you were to crop in on the less zoomed image and superimpose them over each other, they look exactly the same. Zooming in more doesn't magically bring things back over the horizon, but that has been the narrative that has been repeated for years now.
Now, if the Earth was a black hole, you could actually see it around the curve.
Steve, don't even give them any fucking ideas, because I guarantee you they're going to run with it, and they're going to fuck it up.
I'm trying to help you flurfers out there, okay? But I do want to get to the super chat. So this is to Red, super chat. Super Greggy Pants for $5 says, Red, I just want you to know, watching you dunk on flat earthers helped me get through a bad breakup years ago. So thanks for that, dude. Man, that's the kind of quality super chat that, man, I'm telling you, that should make you feel good, dude.
Dude, I just want to say that person in particular, Mad love, bro.
Yeah.
Mad fucking love. That's amazing. I'm happy that I was able to help you through that bullshit, and I understand it can be a fucking bitch. So the fact that I was able to help
We've all
you
been
through
there,
that
brother.
means a lot to me. Yeah, exactly. I've experienced it. So I just want you to know, man, it warms my cold, dead, shriveled up heart. It warms it up knowing that I was able to help you through that.
Does it warm your cockles of your heart?
Mad love.
Is your cockles warm?
Oh yeah, dude. The cackles are getting all warm and toasty. It's like I haven't felt this warm since we were huddled next to that dumpster fire on my last debate with Jeranism.
There was some nice heat coming out of that one.
There was.
My mod Little Miss Petty Page says you forgot to put their Patreon in the description. I actually didn't forget. The reason I didn't put it in this particular one is because I'm going to put the link and pin it. And link to join takes precedent over Patreon. That's just how, because I want people to join. But if you want to become Patreon, the link is in the video description. But I suck at promotion, you know this. But I am going to put the link and I'm going to pin it so people can join and ask you guys questions and go from there. But I do want to. Well, you know what? Do you think we should let people in and start talking about some of the actual flat earthers that maybe no longer with us, or to have I should say, won the Darwin Award for basically conspiratorial views? Or how do you want to do this? Do you want me to open it up? Or
sure. But I also want to discuss another way that flat Earth is pretty much dead. It's not just because they're running out of material. That's the main reason I believe that flat Earth is dead. Now, again, I want to be clear about this. I'm not saying that flat Earth isn't entertaining to dunk on. Believe me, that shit's never going to stop being funny.
Never. It's
Because
too stupid.
When you motherfuckers believing that the Earth is flat and coming up with the most bullshit, crazy reasons why you believe this stuff is just amazing to me, and it's hilarious.
They are creative, though. You got to give. Hey, look. There's most of flat earthers are complete fucking morons, but the ones that are like the higher level flat earthers, they're not as stupid as you think, because they have creativity. They know. I think they absolutely know it's bullshit, but you have to be pretty damn creative to come up with some of their fucking things that they come up with.
It takes a person with focus, commitment, and sheer fucking will to shove their own heads up their own ass that
dedicated
far.
Stupidity. It is dedicated stupidity.
They're dedicated to the stupid, and that's why it's never going to stop being entertaining. So I don't mean flat Earth is dead in that respect. It's always going to be funny. It's always going to be hilarious. That's a fact. However, the main reason that flat Earth is dead is because we've heard their shit before. So boats over the horizon, Zoom, bring it back. That was debunked back in 2017. ISS is not at the altitude that NASA says it is, debunked in 2018. The fucking angular size of the sun changing throughout the day, that was debunked in 2016. Geez, what else can we fucking go? Buildings tilting backwards, that was debunked by GeoGebra Classic 5, and that was a video debunked back in 2019. All astronomers and all telescopes are lying to you, that was addressed and debunked back in 2015. Again, we have gone through this shit so many times that if it wasn't for the sheer entertainment value of seeing these guys get everything perpetually wrong, it would be boring. It would be boring because they get the same shit wrong, and sometimes for the very same reason. Like just recently, I made by recently I mean like basically a year ago, I made a video against Leo, who is Level Earth Observer, who tried to make the claim that because Jeff Bezos' penis rocket had a small glitch of a frame, that proves that's CGI, and that all rockets are CGI, completely ignoring the fact that, one, that was already addressed by the over 60 rocket launch videos that I filmed, but also with the 2 videos that both myself and Astronomy Live made inviting flat earthers out. We would put the joysticks in their hands. They would be the one to track it. They would be the one to film it. They would be the one to take the footage and upload it. They would be able to be on location, feel the rumble of the engines, and experience a launch for themselves. This was not just offered to Leo. He was actually one of them. But this was also offered to, Flat Earth twins, Peter and Pete, or Pete and Peter, or whatever the fuck they're calling themselves these days, where Astronomy Live said, hey, listen, while Red's Rhetoric is not here, I have his shit. He is giving me permission to allow you to film a rocket launch right next to me. You show up to Cape Canaveral, I will put the joysticks in your hands and you will track it. We'll do a practice launch. I will tell you how to do it. You will be a fucking pro and you'll be able to track this shit for yourself. No one took us up on that offer. Would you like to guess why? But it's literally the same shit where they say rocket CGI, space station CGI, other planet CGI. Oh, my Nikon P900 has a fuzzy image of a star. Therefore, any sharp images of stars, like from a piece of optical equipment that's vastly superior, like, oh, I don't know, the Hubble fucking Space Telescope, as if the two are even remotely comparable, that therefore stars are fucking CGI. My Nikon is telling the truth, and Hubble, even though it's a fuck of a lot better, is lying to me because reasons.
Virtually any telescope is better, frankly. I mean, a lowly 4SE Nexstar is better. And
exactly. It's better. And that's the thing. The reason why we constantly harp on these points because we've heard it before. Yeah. That's why the main reason Flat Earth is dead is because it's just rinse and repeat. It gets debunked. Some time goes by. They say, has enough time passed for us to try to resell this bullshit to con even more people into believing our Flat Earth religion, because that's what it is. Then yeah, that's the avenue they take. So that's the main reason that Flat Earth, in my opinion, is dead.
Yeah, but like you said,
rinse and repeat the same shit.
I mean, I had a 4-inch aperture refractor telescope, and with even like a 20 millimeter lens. I mean, on a very clear night, you can see pinpoints of light. These are very in focused. You can go out to the double cluster and look north, and it's always it says the circumpolar, and any time of the year you can see this cluster, and it's magnificent through a telescope. I mean, it's glorious. And other times of the year, you get the Beehive cluster and other things that I've looked at, and you can see these are pinpoints of light. Let me kind of catch up in the live chat. I'm sorry, the live chat's been going by, and I'm not trying to ignore it. But Ash Scott says she says I don't get any flat shit in my recommendations, but then again, I don't watch anything like that anymore. It was only fun when they were coming up with the new stuff, and I think that you're both right. And I think that you are correct on that, Reds. There's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing for anybody even to address because they just. I think that they have moved on to other things, and Ashley points out, she says, I think anthrax. I think anti-vax was the final nail in the FE coffin. It suddenly became way more profitable when everybody started COVIDing. So many flat earthers, nut jobs jumped ship to that and auditing and stuff. And I think you're right. By the way, this should be I got a message. The call ends in 10 minutes. It shouldn't be that.
Yeah, tell me about it.
This is my other account that. I thought it was okay. I'll give you guys a link here in a second. But because I gotta give you a new link to join real quick. But we'll migrate over. Let's see here. And then she had asked, did Nathan Thompson switch to anti-vax stuff? I don't know. Let's get into some of these people because I don't know what the hell happened to some of them. I know some of them died, but
yeah, some of them did. And it sucks. Death is never a fun thing. But when you have a global pandemic and it's literally affecting everyone's life in a very big way, then that is something that conspirators like flat earthers can sink their teeth into. They can try and adopt it as part of their narrative that there's some global conspiracy. So that's not really surprising to me. That some flat earthers have jumped ship. In fact, I got into a bit of a tussle with Jeranism on Twitter because I had the audacity to say that I was vaccinated. And I was like, hey, what's wrong, Jeranism? Are you concerned about the fact that I'm vaccinated and am still healthy enough to get on Twitter and tell you to go fuck yourself because I feel just fine? What? I didn't grow a third arm? What? I didn't grow a second head? What? I didn't drop fucking dead? Yeah, the vaccine works. Imagine that. I had a sore arm for maybe a day and a half, and then after that, it was fine. Everything was fine. But he did try to jump over there trying to say that the vaccine is like this mind control drug or whatever, or it was poisonous in some way. I think that's the word he used. He used the word poisonous. So I asked him a very simple question. When is this poison supposed to kill me? When is it supposed to impact my life in any way, shape, or form?
All right.
And I never got an answer.
Go ahead and migrate. I'll give you the new link. Let's migrate over there real quick, and then I'll read some of these live chats while we're doing that. But before I do that, one question to you, Reds, from Earth is Life for $5. He says, "Hey, Reds, welcome back. What are your thoughts about Ranty coming back to the globe?"
That's actually a good question. Let's answer it when I migrate over.
Awesome. Sounds good. All right, we're going to migrate over to the new one here. So here we go. Yay. Yay. Moving on. That was quick. All right, we're in the new one here. Let's see here. Let me go back to the live chat. We got one over here. It says it made it yet. Let's see here. Jamie says we named our son Red. Hey, Reds. Apparently, Jamie named his son after you. Named him Red. Jamie Russell. Wow. I don't know. He said we named our son Red, whether it was after you or not. He didn't actually say, but yeah, you never know.
I'll take the compliment.
Yeah. I guarantee it. His kids are probably better looking than you because
definitely.
Yeah. Let's see here. Ash says, should do a tier list of flat Earth dumb. Should do a tier list of flat Earth dumb nuggets from dropity to camouflage. Water theory of down. Yeah, that might be interesting. Have like 5 stages of like flat Earth, right? So you have like the lowest stage, which probably maybe at one time maybe Ranty was at. I don't remember Ranty too much when he was in the flat Earth movement. I know that he's no longer. And by the way, for the flat Earthers out there, Ranty's actually kicking some major ass on his channel right now, auditing the absurd. His videos, even though they have content ID matches because he's putting out the Amber Heard Johnny Depp case, and I guess the courts have been all over that, so it's not. I guess it's not something you can monetize. But they've been getting 2, 3, 5. One of his videos got 10 million views. So, I think these flat earthers are in the wrong business if they think they're going to be getting, any kind of profitability out of flat earth any longer. At least Ranty saw the light, and he's doing really well on his channel. He has a new show that he does with a friend of mine, Claire. I haven't watched it yet, but he decided to wise up, and he's done well.
I think if Ranty see, that's the thing. It's always an open-ended question of, do flat earthers actually believe this shit, or are they just trying to cash in? So on the assumption, and I'm going to go ahead and say that this is the direction I'm leaning. On the assumption that Ranty really did believe that the Earth was flat at one point in time, and he finally saw the light per se and recognized that the Earth is in fact round, and that scientists actually weren't full of shit when they said such a thing, then that's actually a good thing, and I'm very happy for it.
I think so. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he actually did believe it. He was one of those rare few that I thought, yeah, probably did believe it. I mean, just from what I know of him, I'm going to give him principle of charity on that.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a moment, because I think I certainly think there are plenty out there that are insincere in their belief, but I think there's a more substantial than most people believe fraction that actually do sincerely believe it. And I think that kind of conspiracy mindset leads to, anti-vax type stuff as well. And these people are going to their graves, some of them, for their beliefs, that they're literally dying because they refuse to take something that would have prevented that. So to me, that indicates a sincere conspiracy mindset. Are they motivated by rational thinking? No. And that's it. That's a fundamental difference in how you and I view the world than perhaps a lot of these people, that we at least try to view the world from a rational perspective, and we're open to evidence, all of that. They're not. It's a lot of emotion motivating those beliefs. And so those emotional attachments can't be broken by it's rational evidence.
No, I agree with that. I mean Hitchens had a I think it was Hitchin that actually had said something along the lines, so, and I do kind of agree with this. As somebody who happens to like epistemology, there is something to be said about the saying, you can't reason somebody out of what they didn't reason themselves into. And again, it's a catch-all phrase. It may be not always the case, obviously, but I think that there are people out there, obviously, that got in the flat earth movement that maybe just for some reason decided to buy into it because maybe they don't know science very well. I think there are a few of them did exist. There was, I can't remember his name, but there was one guy that I had talked to. I didn't really have a formal debate with him per se, but I definitely had some quality one-on-one time with him. I know that you did too, Reds. And again, I don't remember his name, but he actually left Flat Earth over all that as well. when you have people like Wonton, right? I don't think for a second that dude is legit. I just don't. Jism, I don't think is legit. Nathan Thompson, I don't think is legit.
Well, let me capitalize on that if I can.
Mm-hmm.
If you recall back to the debate that was again on this channel between myself and Jeranism, he actually made an admission that it might actually be more reasonable to believe that the space station is real, that the Earth is round,
Mm-hmm.
and so on and so forth. If he admits that it is more reasonable to believe our position, then what does that say about his foundation, his personal foundation in the flat Earth?
Yeah.
It's weak at best. So if you're looking at that debate just by itself, it's easy to come to the conclusion that, maybe, just maybe, Jism doesn't actually believe this shit. Maybe, just maybe, he is actually full of it. Then you have people like Ranty. So let's say that on the assumption that Ranty actually did believe this, it could have just been a misinterpretation of the evidence where he was trying to explain it in a certain way. And then as more evidence started compounding on top of each other that didn't fit his explanation, he then slowly started to realize that, hey, shit's not adding up when it comes to the flat Earth.
Yeah.
And if a person were to look at the evidence objectively, that would be the outcome every single time. But the reason why it's not the outcome every single time is because you have dipshits like Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole who would rather make memes instead of actually doing some fucking analysis. So that's the difference I see between Ranty and those other dipshits.
Yeah.
You know, again, on the assumption that Ranty actually believed this crap, he looked at it and he was actually trying to get to the bottom of this shit, while other people were trying to push a product.
And I don't know, like I said, I don't know Ranty very well. I've messaged him once or twice. He is going to come on and I hope talk about this stuff. He knows that I want to do something with him. And maybe we can get him to answer those questions, stuff like that. So, okay. So, but somebody said like Ranty's seen the attention seek, truth speak, truth got from switching and jump to the globe. So we get shout outs from Conspiracy Cats and Sideman Dan, which by the way, I don't really have a problem with. You know, I happen to know Conspiracy Cats and Sideman Dan. They don't shout me up, but they're going to be probably guests eventually on this channel, at least maybe on the other channel. But I mean, they're nice. You know, they're cool people.
Yeah.
But
So
people don't become
people. Let me go ahead and give you a prime example. And I know I haven't gotten to the second reason I believe flat Earth is dead, but I'll just go ahead and rehash the first reason because again, 33 in the live chat says supposedly people just start floating at what altitude, guys? ? Again, this was discussed in 2015.
Yeah.
2015.
What does that even mean, by the way?
Let me go ahead and repeat for the billionth fucking time how this shit works. People aren't floating in space. They're falling.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a ball and you throw it sideways, it's going to curve and hit the ground. If you throw it harder, it's going to curve and hit the ground again, but slightly further away. Now, what if I threw that ball sideways so hard and so fast that the curve of its arc matched the curve of the Earth? What you would have is the ball would always be falling towards Earth, but Earth would always be curving away just as fast. You would be in orbit. Now, if you have a tiny little person inside that fucking ball, they would be floating relative to the surface of the ball or the ball itself. So that is why they are floating. They're actually falling. Floating is relative. And guess what? It's actually at whatever altitude that you can maintain a stable orbit.
You know, it's funny as Newton actually demonstrated that, or at least, you know, the theory of that in the 17th century. So we've known this for quite some time.
Yes, Newton's canon.
Newton's canon is
Newton's canon, bro.
And even though you can't, obviously, you know, it's a thought experiment. To even the dumbest flat earther can look at this and go, "Oh, yeah, this makes sense." Even intuition, you know, would kick in at that point. Because, yeah, you're not floating. You're falling at the same rate at which you're falling away from the curvature of the Earth. But real quick, thank you, Fuckboy Assassin. Good to see you, man. It's been a while. Sanji was the guy I was thinking of, and I couldn't think of it. He actually remembered what I was talking about, right? These guys are like my pocket brain, right? I don't have to remember fuck all at my age anymore because, you know, gray matter starts degenerating. But Yes, it was Sean G, who actually left Flat Earth after talking to myself, and I think he talked to you a few times. And there was one other person that I remember leaving Flat Earth, and maybe they can help me as well with this guy. Remember the guy? This was a long time ago, dude. You and I had a discussion with him on my other channel. He was the one that he finally saw the light because he couldn't explain the circumpolar star patterns from the equator as opposed to the poles. He couldn't explain the celestial mechanics of that, and that convinced him. Now, I still think he remained a young Earth creationist, but he did leave Flat Earth, and I don't remember who that was, and I doubt you would as well, but maybe somebody else remember, because I remember that was the reason why he left. He couldn't explain on any kind of Flat Earth model why we saw the star trails that we saw.
Yeah, and that's another thing. The fact that we have two celestial poles for which the stars rotate around, that is impossible on a flat Earth. That's another thing that we discussed. I believe, if I remember correctly, this was something that we discussed on a hangout on GeoStreber's channel back in 2017. And to this day, we still haven't gotten an answer for how that fucking shit works. Maybe that was the problem that Jeranism's personal dome bullshit was trying to solve. Who knows?
33. The link to join is in the top there. You're welcome to come in and talk to Reds. I'm sure you do. You have a problem with that, Reds? He says I don't recognize this guy's name, but he says he's refuted you before, and he's trounced you, and he's shadowed over you, and he's destroyed your psyche, and basically demonstrated to you the Earth is flat multiple times over, and you're just hiding.
I don't even remember. You're
just suppressing the truth in your own righteousness.
I don't remember you.
Yes.
I don't even remember talking to this guy. But here's the thing.
He don't remember.
He comes up with the first thing he says is, "At what altitude do you magically start floating?" And I'm like, I can point to like the exact answer to that, instantly, because we've discussed it before. Why do you constantly come back with these already addressed arguments? It's your objection has already been refuted multiple times. Sir Isaac Newton did it before you were even a twinkle in your mother's eye.
I got to make sure. I said I wasn't prepared for that, so I don't think I have my Elmo. Do I have my Elmo thing in case it comes in here? Let me see if I can find my Elmo thing. Oh, here we go. Does this work? Yeah, I did work. Okay, I got my Elmo thing prepared for him. All right, so 33. Yeah, come on in, brother. Come on in.
But here's another thing. Hey, Astronomy Live. Quick question. Using orbital mechanics and stuff like that, you have been able to make certain predictions that turned out to be, found to be, correct. Isn't that true? Don't you use orbital mechanics in your observations practically on a daily basis?
Yeah, I mean, I've done that plenty of times. I predicted the path, direction, all of that of the 2017 eclipse. I'm going to do it again for the 2024 eclipse. I've predicted the start and end of the SDO eclipse season multiple times. There was one time that because SDO observes an extreme UV light, Earth's atmosphere is opaque to that. And so you have to account for that if you really want to see when the sun will appear to wink out of a lot of those images. NASA doesn't generally account for Earth's atmosphere. So there was one time that it actually changed by 1 day if you account for Earth's atmosphere, which I did, and I called NASA out on that. So,
listen to you. Yeah.
So, no, I've made plenty of predictions, including that one that I would dare say contradicted NASA. Some would say and have said to me, well, that doesn't count. That's the atmosphere. That's not really an eclipse. Well, if the casual observer looks at the picture and the sun appears to go partially dark because something's blocking it, I don't think the casual observer is going to care if it was Earth's atmosphere or Earth's surface doing the work.
Yeah.
And this is you can do the work yourself is what I'm trying to say. You can do the work yourself. And here's the thing. Astronomy Live, have we or have we not offered to literally walk people through this shit? Like,
no, I know you have. I know you have. Yeah.
Red, I did the work on that to such an extent. My prediction was not based on NASA's published orbit of the spacecraft. No, I determined it myself from my own observations with my own telescope and made that prediction. Yes, you can do the work yourself. You don't have to rely on NASA or anyone else telling you what's going to happen. You can start from nothing, get your observations, and make predictions based on the orbital elements. That's what I've done.
And that's why I wanted to follow up with, we have actually, rolled out the red carpet for flat earthers to do these observations with us, not just with rocket launches, but also with like ISS transits, or even measuring the altitude of the damn thing.
Yep.
Or just ISS passes, like what I filmed this morning. I have a standing offer. If a flat earther wants to come and remotely control my telescope, you can do it over the internet. I can set you up. You can take over control of my program over the internet, and you can move ISS around in the field of view. You can just press your arrow keys on your keyboard, move ISS up, down, left, right, whatever you want to do, and I will let you do it. We can do that. If 33 wants to come and do that,
yeah. By the way, he hasn't tried getting in yet. And by the way, when somebody tries to enter, you get that chime sound. So I mean, I haven't suppressed anything. I haven't suppressed it in my unrighteousness or whatever. He has not tried to come in yet. So, and just for confirmation, Steve, the link you have out there is the link to the new Hangout, right? Not the one that made it. Okay. Yeah.
I
will double check it right here, though.
And just to make this clear, the very first question that I would often ask these people is, are you willing to do this observation yourself? And so like for example, Peter and Pete, or Pete and Peter, whatever the fuck they're calling themselves this week. That offer was made to them to come to Cape Canaveral, film this shit for themselves, take the footage home, analyze their own footage, feel the vibrations themselves, because they would actually be there. We had that offer for them. That offer was not rejected. It was simply ignored. And then you had JM Truth. That offer was also ignored. Then you had Jeranism. That offer was ignored. You had Bob Nodell. That offer was fucking ignored. In fact, there was an offer from Wolfie 1692 for Bob, something to do with his bullshit assertions that he was a pilot. Well, Wolfie is actually a pilot. And he goes, "How about this? You come over, show me your piloting abilities, and I'll make it worth your while."
He spent like $10,000 up of his own money.
I think there was a wager. I think there was a monetary wager. I don't remember exactly, but that was also ignored.
Yep.
And so you go down the list, and it's like, whenever we try to make this offer, these flat earthers, they're more than happy to continue to spew bullshit, but not do any of the work that would actually clear them of their misconceptions.
I think there's a super chat that explains a lot of the psychology behind this pretty well. And I don't know if you got to this yet, Steve, but Corn Tech for $5.
I haven't yet. I'm trying to catch up. You guys are full of information, so I don't want to like interrupt too much. But
I think Corn gets right to the heart of it. Do you want to read that one out?
Sure.
I think it gets
Yeah, Corn says for $5, Ranty had an early vid about his life losses, and after all that sought community when he was alone. We see other fall into conspiracy. Or recipe others fall into conspiracy info silos. You can parse it out.
Yeah, and I think that's very insightful. I think that is a root cause of a lot of this, and why you see this kind of behavior, that they'll morph even from one conspiracy to another that contradicts the previous conspiracy, but they will not revert to accepting mainstream explanations for things or evidence or any of that. The community aspect of it is very important, and the feeling of belonging. And I think Corn is exactly right. If you talk to Ranty, you're going to see that was a large part of it, that there was a sense of belonging there. And there's a sense of martyrdom almost, where everyone else is scorning them, whether it's because they think the world is about to end, or they think the world is flat, or they just think that spaceflight is fake. Whatever it is, there's a sense of community there. And unfortunately, and by the nature of doing the debunking, in my opinion, it's real easy to push them further down that rabbit hole, even though you're presenting contradictory information, because you're feeding into that feeling of, oh, I'm a victim, I'm being persecuted. And their reprieve from that is to seek solace with their community, not to accept the evidence, which can, I think
you're spot on.
lead to situations where the person might even openly say, yes, your position is the more reasonable one to believe in, but I'm choosing to believe in this position that I know is not reasonable, that I know is not supported by the evidence, because you guys offend me. I would rather be with these people because I like them.
Yeah, no, it's tribalism. Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely correct on that. And I think there are people out there that, as a matter of fact, I won't even say I think. I know there are people out there. It's not even a believe or think claim. I am absolutely 100% convinced there are people out there that do not care about facts. They don't care about truth. All they care about is how they fit in with the tribe, and that's all they do. And look, those are the people that, I have very little to do with. They do exist, but unfortunately, I think that because there are people like that, and I know for a fact that there are, then it would make sense that there are people like that do this for flat Earth. It just seems reasonable that there are flat Earthers that want to fit into a community, knowing full well, or at least highly suspecting that what they are being told is bullshit, but they don't care. To them, that's not even something they really give a shit about. It's not about whether the Earth is flat or not. It is, a feeling of communion, and a feeling that they're wanted and supported and things of that nature. But hey, we had 33 join us. He figured out how to click the link.
Get to the second thing first, though, Steve.
Oh, okay.
Because you actually touched on the second reason, and that's because it has this flat Earth being the social construct that it is. The second reason, in my opinion, that flat Earth is dead is because other flat earthers, lesser known flat earthers, those that, let's say, legitimately believe this garbage, they always go to the same people. So even if the argument is new to them, their sources never change. It's always Jeranism, it's always Globebusters or Bob Nodell or Morgile or whatever. And
what about Eric Dubay or whatever his name is?
Eric Dubay or Dubay or whatever the fuck he's calling himself this week. Yeah. It's the second reason is because there is just, the variety is so condensed that there is none. It always leads back to the same people that for a fact have already been debunked 6 ways to Sunday, and they're not going to bring anything new to the table. So what is the point with arguing with Jeranism 2.0 when Jeranism 1.0 wasn't good there, and there hasn't been any upgraded.
They're just parroting at that point. And I read the same thing.
Flat Earth has become such a parody of itself. That's a great way of putting it, Steve. It has become such a parody of itself that even though it is somewhat entertaining, I'm going to say mostly entertaining, it also gets somewhat annoying. Like, I know exactly where you got that argument. I know exactly where you heard it from. And it kind of sucks that you're going to them rather than doing what you said you should do and doing your own research. Mm-hmm. So if you did your own research, you wouldn't have to go to anybody else. When people said, hey, you should go out and do this shit,
you
done? Here's what I did.
We'll get to you at 33, I promise.
We'll get there.
He just rambles. He doesn't even say anything. He just rambles. He doesn't.
Yes, I'm going to be rambling. This is
ramble on. We'll I promise you 33.
You wanted to come here. You're going to have to deal with it.
He's almost done. I promise you. I'll give him 30 more seconds.
With me though, it was this.
Well, hang on. Go ahead.
When people said do your own research, I didn't go online. I didn't do that. Myself and Astronomy Live, we measured the altitude of the ISS. We measured the curvature of the Earth. We had Soundly, who viewed the curvature over the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway. We even measured the distance to the sun. We had a live stream about that, Astronomy Live. So we've done our own research, but I failed to see any flat earthers doing any of their own research without fucking it up because it was originally done by Bob Nodell.
Yeah, and by the way, you just experienced, you just described my experience with many people in the dealing with epistemology. It's the same thing. It's like, guys, you're just parroting other people at this point. I'm not going to spend my time wasting my time things I've already explained a million times. I've had my blog that anybody go read. But
Steve, if you wanted, now what would you do? What would you honestly do if you wanted to debate William Lane Craig, but he was like, let's say, comatose? You would just call up Shock of God because it's the fucking same thing.
Yeah, exactly. They're just, all parrots of each other. All right, so 33. First of all, you have a history with Reds? Because we don't remember you, no offense.
Yeah, I have history with you as well.
Oh.
You don't recall?
No, unless you are...
You don't recall?
Are you Russian vids?
Wait.
Are you Russian vids?
Oh, there you go.
There you go. Oh, okay.
You don't recall Freemasonry yet. You've done multiple shows with Russian vids. That was the last time.
You are Russian vids, though. Are you Russian vids?
What stupid question is that?
I just want to make sure.
No, let's get down to business. Boys.
No. I mean, wait, can you wait? Answer that. So we know who we're referring to. Are you Russian Vids?
No.
No, you're not Russian Vids. Okay, I don't remember Russian Vids.
Why would I be Russian Vids?
I don't. How would I know? I haven't talked to Russian Vids in years.
Something else?
Because he was all into 33 level crap and all that.
So, but why do you act like you know what it's about now? But when I asked you on our last debate, you had no idea. You pretended like you had no idea.
I don't remember that because I
have it saved, and luckily for you, I posted it on one of your last.
You do remember that my grandfather was a Shriner, right? Free-level Mason, right? Yeah. But I mean, so anyways, so you're not. You are not Russian Mid. So what did you go under before? Because you weren't under 33.
I was 33 UC.
Was it? Okay.
On Twitter.
I'll take your, okay. So anyways, so dealing with, with the Reds here, you've debunked him supposedly. Did we miss this? Because I don't remember this when this happened.
Reds, how many people have circumnavigated the globe north to south?
I think the number as of right now off the top of my head is a fuck of a lot.
Really?
It's more than a shit ton though, ain't it?
Can you guys get some more details? Can you get more details?
I don't know the difference between a shit ton and a fuck ton. I didn't learn that in math.
Well, then there's also a metric fuck ton, Steve. You have to be very clear.
And a megapint.
Right.
Yeah.
Are you going to just dance around everything tonight, or are you going to actually get to some answers?
Let's see. So there was April 6, 1924, 8 U.S. Army air service pilot and mechanics on 4 airplanes left Seattle, Washington to carry out the first circumnavigation of the globe by air. They completed the journey in 175 days later on September 28th after making 74 stops and covering
how many different people have
miles.
done this total?
So
how many different people have done this in total?
Well, it's at least 8 so far. So let's try our Google foo a little bit.
So you're going to say like a handful?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying I don't know the number off the top of my head because I don't go by other people's experience when I'm deciding whether or not the Earth is flat.
How about east to west? How many times?
I don't know. I didn't. I'll tell you that much.
Can you look that up?
I mean, I can, but what difference does it make?
Yeah, why?
Because we're going to get to the point that supposedly it's been done many times north to south.
What does this have to do with my observations?
I'm not
north
sure
to
what it has to
south,
do with you
it's
either.
been done supposedly only a handful of times. Why would that be, guys?
I'll tell you this much: I haven't done it.
I haven't either, and I don't claim to have done it. But I don't see
like
the relevance.
We discussed earlier, you two weren't answering my questions in the chat before. At what height do you guys just start floating or falling?
Well, he did answer. No, hang on.
I did answer
that. Reds did answer in great detail, and in fact, myself, Reds, and Astronomy Live all explained something called Newton's Canon. Did you miss? Well, hang on. Did you miss that part?
I did.
You did.
Okay.
So you weren't listening to the answers when I was given.
I was watching some UFC. I don't have time for you clowns.
Okay, cool.
I just want to make sure that we get this right.
I just don't like you guys talking so much trash.
I want to make sure we got this right.
I
want to make sure we got this right.
It's very obvious.
So 33. I want to make sure we got this right. You asked. By the way, you can talk forever, and I can literally can overtalk you.
That's all you.
So you had asked a question that you did not want the answer to, and you asked a question that you didn't find important enough to stick around for the actual answer that was given. Is that correct?
From you two clowns? I didn't get an answer right away.
How do you know? You didn't stick around. You just said you went to go watch some UFC or something.
I stuck around long enough.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and try this again then.
Obviously.
Okay.
Not.
So 33, I understand that patience may not be your thing, but I'm going to ask it from you. Here it goes.
Tell me the footage.
If you have a ball,
give me the number.
If you have a ball, if you have a ball, if you have a ball and you throw it sideways, it's going to curve and hit the ground. If you take that same ball and throw it a little harder, it will curve and hit the ground, but slightly further away. Now, what if I took that same ball and threw it so hard that the curve of its arc matched the curve of the Earth? What would happen is that the ball would always be curving towards Earth, but Earth would always be curving away just as fast. That is an orbit. if you have a figurine or whatever inside of that sphere, it will float relative to the sphere itself that it is inside of. The ball, in this case, is a spacecraft. So the answer to your question is, at whatever altitude a stable orbit can be achieved. And usually that's around, well, let's say the Chinese space station's at 300 kilometers. That's a pretty low orbit. 400-kilometer orbit is another stable orbit. You can also be in geostationary orbit. That's another orbit.
Where do you get this data? Where do you get this data from?
From physics, dude. Have you heard of Newton's canon?
No. Where do you get the actual real life data? Because we know that you're not doing any of this.
No, actually, no, Reg did. No, Reg and Astronomy Live both did
this. Hang on. No, we actually did, because both myself and Astronomy Live measured the altitude, the size, and the speed of the ISS.
You both did do that.
Yeah, we did.
Okay,
we measured the size, we measured the speed, and we measured the altitude of the ISS, but both in 2018 and in 2020, and both of those videos are on my channel for your viewing pleasure.
Did you
watch the video? Did you watch the video?
Okay. Let's get to
these
some,
wait, hang on, 33. These are not difficult questions. Did you watch the video?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you wait. So I want to make sure that again we're on the same page here. You didn't watch the video with that when them actually doing this, and then just asserted that they didn't do something that you didn't watch. I just want to make sure everybody's clear on that, right?
If that's how you want to word it, sure.
That's the truth.
Yeah, because we actually.
Let's get down.
Yeah, I know. Hey, look,
I
am crazy for wording things and the truth. I get that. I mean, that's just absurd to actually speak the truth. I get that. I understand. Okay, I want to make sure.
Red, are you a believer of? Let's not see your head down. Are you a believer of the Big Bang?
Did anyone understand anything of what you just said?
I think he asked, "Are you a believer of the Big Bang?" But I don't know what relevancy that has to do with anything. Because if this guy doesn't,
I just want to know.
If he doesn't know basic physics, you think he's going to be competent enough to talk about Big Bang and cosmology and astrophysics? I seriously doubt this.
Red, are you a Big Bang believer?
Big Bang, yes, I believe in the Big Bang. Yes, sir, absolutely. What does that have to do with the shape of the Earth?
Okay, so Red does, and how about you?
Yeah, you ask me or Astronomy Live? The Big Bang is a confirmed model. There are different variations of the Big Bang to explain different anomalies that we have. But as far as regression to go back to 3.8, 3.9 billion years, yeah, that's established fact.
So who came up with the Big Bang?
Lemaitre.
And who is this Dimitri?
He was a Jesuit priest.
And this is the crap that you two believe.
What's that? Was I wrong on that?
No, you're dead on.
Oh, okay. I want to make sure. Yeah, I mean, I just want to make sure that Thank you for pointing that out. Yeah. So why would it matter where
some of them probably don't know?
Why would it matter that a Jesuit priest came up with something when it has to be science?
So a priest came up.
You're saying that a man of God can't be a man of science as well?
Unbelievable.
You find that are you arguing now that it's just because he was a man of the cloth he couldn't have accurate science, which he did?
Hey Steve, notice one thing.
What I'm saying, yeah.
Notice one thing. He said you didn't do the observation with the ISS. When we say that we did, he goes to something more extreme like Big Bang. So basically,
no, I just wanted to know. Where you two idiots.
I want to make sure that he realizes.
We'll get away from
that. Let me point out here. I want to make sure he realizes 33.
No. Hang on, Steve.
I'm glad we went over.
I don't know which way I'm pointing here. Which way am I pointing?
Let's get to some other business. Let's
down here.
You literally made an assertion that we didn't do an observation. And when I tell you that, yeah, we actually did that observation, you completely jet sideways.
And he didn't even watch the video. I mean, Astronomy Live, literally right now on his GIF right there is showing a picture that he took of the ISS. And I think this was was this today, dude?
This morning.
This is from this morning, dude. Real quick,
6 a.m.
I have a super chat real quick. Ash Scott for £5 says, "Can we have another net job answer the questions? Isn't everyone tired of them dodging by firing constant questions? Let's hear their answers for a change. They never give coherent answers. That's the problem. I can't get straight answers. It's very difficult. But
it's very simple. It's very simple. You can't leave Earth. You can't float around in imaginary space. Everything's
not floating.
It's not floating. Garbage.
Orbits are a thing. We confirm this independently. And here's the thing: you can too.
Excuse me.
You can confirm that orbits are a thing. You can do this yourself.
I've already confirmed what
No, you
absolute
haven't.
trash.
No, you
government
haven't.
I throw the
No, you
I throw the
haven't.
bullshit flag. Bullshit
I'm
flag.
It's
throwing
been
the bullshit flag
confirmed.
because and here's the thing, I can
Bullshit
prove it with just
flag.
one question. What did
Guys,
you do to confirm it?
You guys are following people like Don Patet. Don Patet. These are.
I've never
are
heard of
people
him.
you
Who's
should
that?
follow.
Astronomy Live was Don
His
with
level-
us when we
his
did the
level of
observation of the
education.
ISS?
I don't even know who that is.
No, he wasn't there when we did that. No,
He wasn't there when we did it. Did he help us with the math?
no, he didn't.
Did he operate the telescopes?
No. I would have noticed that.
Did he tell us where to point the damn thing?
No. Didn't
Wait,
do
who is
that
this
either.
guy? I don't even know who he is.
So it seems to me
He's an
that
astronaut.
Don wasn't there 33. You're gonna have
Sorry.
to come up with some better bullshit than that.
Like,
I don't know.
Like-
They're the ones squeezing it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if all you have 33 is what's called denialism, then aren't you the one that don't have anything to offer?
okay, here's one for you guys.
Oh, okay. Just go for it.
Oh boy.
Okay, Red.
Can't wait.
We're gonna go ahead and ignore
All
the
right, Reds.
fact that we didn't answer the first question like at all.
All right, Reds.
Yeah.
He's going to show you up right here with this one. Who's calling me? Don't call
no,
me.
no,
Who's
just
calling
for the
me?
record, when he said you didn't do the observation yourself, and we actually said, actually, dumb fuck, we did, he just completely jets off like over on left field. So, all right, go ahead. Completely ignore the fact that we actually did the
You two will
observation
stroke
ourselves.
each other. You two will stroke each other all night if I don't get this
Dude, you should
moving.
see us
I don't
shampoo
have time.
together. That's where it gets really hot.
There's some UFC I have to tend to. I just heard you two idiots just making crazy claims, so I had to get on here.
I'm sorry. I just have to interrupt here. Are you standing next to a street right now?
Excuse me?
Is there like a road right behind you? I keep hearing cars going
I heard
by.
that as well, yeah.
Do I live on a street? Yes, I live on a street.
No. Right now, are you standing next to the street? Are you outside next to the street?
I live on a street like every other person in the world.
That's not what I asked.
Questions, pal? Or
Well, that's not what I
have
asked.
any-
I asked
do you have
I
any
assume
other
he actually is
questions or
standing
no?
on the sidewalk because I heard it
Okay.
too.
I'm just saying, like, the way you're, dodging questions, getting very defensive, and you've apparently taken time out of your busy walk down the street to come on here. To me, this reinforces what I was saying earlier about the emotional driving aspects of this, the sense of community of this. And unfortunately, I feel like no matter what evidence we show you, it's only going to make you more defensive, which just furthers the
go
belief.
ahead, bring
and
something up, pal. Bring something up, please. Bring it.
I'm
Bring it.
just explaining
Bring something up.
what I
What do
see
you
as
have?
the
Hey, how
driving
about you
psychology
answer
behind
this?
the belief.
How about you answer this question?
And here you are
Hey,
interrupting
quiet,
me.
Quiet. Everybody quiet. Everybody
You're going
quiet.
to
I want
you're going
this
to tell
guy to answer
us
this
to
question.
be quiet? Okay.
I want this guy to answer this question. If
This
you
guy.
dug a hole straight down underneath you, are you going to come out feet first or head first on the other side of the world?
Well, I'm probably going to burn to death in lava.
You're going to have a bad journey. It's going to be about 43
question.
minutes, but it's going to be a bad
It's a
Answer
journey.
the question.
Pop out.
question. You're not.
Answer
You're
the
not going to
question.
pop out. You would die.
Answer the question.
Answer the
That is the answer, dipshit.
Which way would you come out? Feet first or head first?
A charred hunk of what used to be a human.
How come that kid just got so quiet, man? He gets quiet
Again,
when I
it's
ask
a
him
nonsensical
questions.
question. It's a
Yeah,
nonsensical.
it's a very sensical question.
No, it's
very
really not.
sensical.
Yeah, no, it's.
You need to be
really
able
not.
to answer that. You need to be able to answer that. Hey,
I
I'll ask
really
you the same
don't.
question. Here, I'll ask you the same question I asked McToon. You guys think that there's no. You guys think that there's no right side or upside down on your ball Earth, correct?
Well, it's
Up is relative.
Yeah, it's relevant. And by the way, I asked him. Hang on. I asked MC Toon. Listen to me. I asked MC Toon to join us today, but he wasn't able to make it. So MC Toon, next time if you want to have, he's going to come on, but he wasn't able to make this particular episode. But what is it you asked MC Toon that was so?
I'm trying to ask you if you're not paying attention.
No,
clearly.
The question is, you guys say it's relative, but in the same people, you guys are going to tell me that Buzz Aldrin went and landed on the moon. Here's your problem.
Mm.
Now Buzz Aldrin's standing on the moon. He's looking back at Earth. Guess what? Somebody has to be upside down. Who is it?
Up is
Yeah.
relative to the surface that you're standing on. There's no
But
contradiction.
someone is upside down from Buzz
Relative to someone else,
view,
yes,
correct?
but relative to the ground, no.
I don't even see how this is a rational line of reasoning. I mean, do you,
Yeah, what
I mean,
what are you trying to say?
That's impossible.
Because
That's
things can be
impossible. What I'm
relative to
saying.
one another, therefore flat Earth.
That's
Is that the bullshit you're trying to
impossible.
push?
This is impossible.
No,
What
it
you guys
isn't.
are
did you
saying is
graduate
impossible.
grade school? Because this is okay. Let me tell you something. 30. This is
What
like
you're saying
hang
is
on. Let me
impossible.
finish my sentence. This is one of the things
It's
that
impossible.
this is one of the things that Rez and I were talking about before you probably started listening, because you may want to go back and check it out. Rez and I were saying, hey, look, there's nothing new under the sun, and flat earthers have to keep getting dumber and dumber to come up with dumber and dumber things. You just epitomized that. You literally just did exactly what Rez predicted was going to happen. That
No, because I have to use things that are
Steve,
very
here's the
basic
thing.
because there's no
This
other way
exact
to do it with the cloud.
question was asked like back in 2018.
oh, so
I
this was
think.
not even new. This was recycled
This
bullshit.
is not new.
Ah,
Basically,
fuck, I've given too much
here
credit.
is.
Damn it.
Hang on, Steve. The show is called Non Sequitur. What is this? Because he says that because people can be, upside down relative to each other depending on the surface that they're standing on, that therefore flat Earth. That's a non sequitur.
It's not sequitur. Yes,
no.
it's
Nope.
there's not a word in the English language to explain that
Not
kind
what
of
I
dumb
said.
fuckery. I mean, it just come on, 33. That just do you really want to go on die on that stupid hill?
You can
orientation.
Actually educate
How come-
yourself by
how come
playing
you
Purple
can't-
Space Program. I recommend it.
Okay.
How come you guys still can't answer my other question?
What
Head
other
first or feet
question?
first?
The ISS thing that you constantly dodged?
Head first or feet first, guys?
Okay. Look, let's pretend you have an unobtainium tube that you can travel through without somehow getting burned or destroyed or crushed or whatever. And
Correct.
you can come out the other side. Okay.
Correct.
I could come out depending on how I decide to, induce rotation of myself during the fall.
Whoa.
Yes, you can
What?
induce rotation without even
Whoa.
using thrusters.
Whoa.
Hubble Space
So you're just
Telescope
gonna-
does this
So
every day.
You're gonna defy what you call is
Sure.
no impossible.
And okay, so at 33, how many minutes would it take to travel through that center of the? Say there's a shaft that goes down through the middle of the Earth that comes out the other side, and you jump down it. How long would it take to get from one side to the other?
Approximately 33 minutes.
I think it's 43, isn't it? A little under 43. Now, what happens if you're at an angle? What happens if, for example, you start at the North Pole and you have an angle of a 45 degree that goes to the equator? How long would it take?
Stupid questions.
No, actually, the answer is the same amount of time. You're falling at a lesser rate and you have lesser travel, so it actually equals out to be the same because of the slope.
Eventually, what will happen is that if you were to jump in feet first, eventually rotation would occur, and you can decide whether or not you come out feet first or head first.
And you would come out, you would exit at the same velocity that you went in with.
Hey, anything goes. Anything goes.
Have you ever seen skydivers? They can fall head first, feet first, belly, back, whatever. They decide. They can do it. It's been done. Look it up.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry
you
that
guys-
the concept of skydiving is complicated for you.
Let's ask 33 because he's asking us some questions. So 33, according to Jeranism, there is no model for flat Earth. Do you agree with
I don't
Jeranism
give
on
a
that?
shit what Jeranism says. That
No,
guy's
we don't
an idiot.
either. So we're all on the same page on that. But I'm just saying.
Oh, good. One thing we actually agree
yay.
on.
Yeah, we all agree. Yes, let's go home. Flat Earth's dead.
We did it.
Woo! Congratulations,
No,
Reds.
but you guys might be a level dumber, to be honest. If I'm being real here.
Okay. Do you believe that there is actually a flat Earth model that can make accurate predictions?
No, I mean nothing that I can show you guys right now is gonna be worth.
No, but do you have
talking about,
anything that
about.
can make any prediction whatsoever? Like, could you, on your flat Earth model, could you predict, like, for example, the phases of the moon?
I don't have any models that I'm gonna demonstrate. Like I said, Reds.
Okay,
He doesn't
do you
know.
believe
one-
He
nothing I can
answered,
demonstrate.
Reds. He answered. The answer is no.
You believe that, but not that he has one, but do you believe that one exists?
Oh, I'm sure they're out there for sure. Absolutely.
Really?
Really?
We've
Absolutely.
looked. I'm telling
Absolutely.
you, Reds has been doing this a long time, and I've had, as you know, prior episodes on Flat Earth because you supposedly had talked to me, and I honestly I don't remember, and I apologize for that.
I don't remember either.
But we have never seen
Reds,
one of these
Reds,
models.
Trust me. trust me, I'm not worried whether you remember me or not. I just want to make sure that you don't keep talking.
Well, but you say these models, but why? Well, you don't seem to have any answers for us yet. We have models that actually have put people on the moon, models that actually have put surveyors on Mars, models that actually can do things like, see an event horizon on Sagittarius, A star or M87. These things have based upon physics and science that we know does exist and does work. And we ask you for a model that would make any kind of predictive things. You got nothing. And April Von Rand for $5 Canadian says, I don't believe in a God. If he exists, this is a gift to me. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yes, this is a gift for all of us. Your pal Al for $2. No, you'd be stuck at the center of the earth. You would actually end up in the middle of the earth eventually, from what I understand. Yeah. You would exit at the same velocity you come in and went in, because the earth is also rotating at the same time you're going in. You're going to have a bad trip.
Basically,
you're going to have a bad trip.
Basically, you're gonna end up in the center. You're not actually gonna pop out the other side. The whole conservation thing. But there's also another thing, Steve. LIGOs, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The arms, yeah. The arms that extend outwards have a laser in a vacuum tube. Mm-hmm. Now that laser in the vacuum tube, you don't have to know what the laser does. You just have to know it exists. Well, in a vacuum, there's no atmosphere for atmospheric refraction, so it's perfectly straight. Why is it the case that perfectly straight laser, in order for it to remain perfectly straight, required a foot of concrete to offset the curvature of the Earth at the end of each arm?
I would argue, if you want to get a little bit be a pendant, I would argue it does bend because of the curvature of the Earth a little bit, but it's insignificant over 1 mile that you want to be factored in. But obviously, as the curvature of the Earth has to be taken into account, so this straight line is all practical purposes is straight. Would require to have a higher elevation because it's going over the curve. If not, you're not gonna see it. You have to
exactly. So that higher elevation is exactly what's offset by the concrete.
I would say that the model that predicts the curvature would be you would need a certain amount of concrete to raise it up at the very end in order to see it because it's a straight line. So that would be a predictive model that works, right?
Yeah, yeah, and that was a prediction that was made, and it actually worked. And it was also the same type of mathematics that we used for the Tampa Bay blink test that I did.
Reds.
Yeah.
How big is Earth?
How big? Radius of what is it? 6,371 kilometers, if I remember correctly.
That's 6735 or something. 675.
That's 3,000. What was it? 3,959 miles, something like that.
So
let me see.
Okay. So your fairy tale model actually has dimensions, and you don't even know it. That's good. Just like
3,958 miles.
No,
so
good.
Was
you have
close.
You don't actually know the dimensions. That's clear. We've established.
I don't memorize those numbers. I mean, I have an approximation.
I was actually dead set when I mentioned it in kilometers.
Yeah,
so I was actually correct.
I think you're.
Do you think that's big?
What's big? The Earth's that big? Yes, the Earth is that big. Yes, sir.
Yeah, 6,000. So
I'm saying, do you think? I'm asking you. Do you think that's big?
Do I think the Earth is big? Yeah, it's a fucking planet
compared to us. Yeah,
so
relative to us.
So are you saying it's massive
compared to us?
Yeah, it's a fucking planet. Yes, it's pretty massive.
Comparative to us.
So here's my next
comparatively.
Comparative to M87, no.
Are you one of these people that say it's so massive yet you can see the curve from the beach?
I can see the curve looking dead ahead. Yes, sir.
I gotta go.
Okay.
Bye. Anyway, so now that that's done,
okay. That was sudden.
That was bizarre.
Yeah, it was.
Floyd P. had said, if I look at the horizon and observe the land around me as flat, am I not warranted in believing the Earth is flat? All things being equal, Serapis Paribus, you could justify that if you didn't know anything else about the topic. Sure. But I mean, again, we're most people don't live in a bubble where they have not been exposed to like reality in science and things of that nature.
Hang on once. I know what he's trying to say. He's basically ignoring the concept of what's called compressed perspective. Allow me to explain. If you're looking dead ahead, you will see the curvature of the Earth because the curve is compressed within that line. However, side to side, the curve is not compressed within that field of view, and so it looks straight. a good way there was actually a good example of this, and I'll try to find it. It was on Metabunk. Hey, Steve, you have the ability to screen share, right?
I do. Yeah, I guess. Sure. I mean,
we have. Okay. So let me go ahead and pull up a website for you, and I want you to take a look at it. Okay. So let me find it. I'm going to mute real quick, and then I'm going to send you a link, and then I want you to display it once I send it to you. So give me a few minutes.
I'll talk to Strawman Live on that. So Strawman Live, what? First of all, I don't know who again, I don't know who it was. He said he wasn't Russian Viz. It didn't sound like him, but I don't remember.
No, I don't think it's Russian.
So I don't think it's Russian Viz either. But I mean, this seems to be the pattern from like flat earthers. I don't know if that guy was a Poe or not. I mean, it just seems when you're at that level of just throwing out so many stupid things and not even addressing the actual science that's involved, I have to take these people as being a Poe. I mean, again, I lean to that, and I could be completely wrong. That could be some idiot that actually believes what he believes, but I personally lean toward Poe on these people, and I don't know if it's something that I'm wrong about. But am I? Do you think I'm justified to lean towards Poe? And I could be, like I said, I could be completely wrong, but
I can't.
That's probably
I can't
Poe,
provide
right?
hard evidence to. I can't provide hard evidence to sway you the other way. But personally, I lean the other way, and the reason is just listening to it and sitting back and listening to it. The emotionality that's there, the emotional conviction that's there in his voice.
I don't hear it. I just hear deception.
Yeah,
there's deception, but it's maybe it's a spectrum, but it's like I was saying before. They may be fully aware that their position is not rational, it's not backed up by evidence, and that frustrates them. But that doesn't mean that they don't believe it or choose to believe it in some capacity. At some level, they know it's fake, perhaps, like him. But that doesn't mean that they don't sincerely associate with the community. Maybe that's the way to put it.
Yeah.
I think people like him sincerely associate with the community. I see him in chats all the time. I see that guy in chats all the time. There's a level of commitment there, and I hear it in his voice that, to me, personally, I fall on the side of thinking he's not just doing this to troll. He's doing this to be part of a community.
And that okay, there might be something to that, but at the same token, I still think that he's being a Poe about it. I think it's something he doesn't, it just
probably.
doesn't. Yeah.
Well, I think the reason you think that is because, like I was saying, he doesn't necessarily believe that his position is the most rational, and his objective, therefore, is not to argue the evidence. His objective is to frustrate you, is to try to get under your skin.
Which never happens.
So it comes across as trolling. No, but it comes across as trolling, which is why I think I see why you would.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Believe that he's just a troll. But again, I think there's a deeper motivation that goes to that sense of community, which is why he's acting.
And you know what? You might be 100% correct on that. But here's the thing: you might even be more correct on that than I think, because real quick, if they don't get under your skin right away and they're being laughed at, that's when they just like call it quits, right? Because they don't get the response they're looking for. Because Reds and I, especially Reds, obviously we've seen it all, right? I mean, we laugh at these people. There's nothing to get upset by. There's just it's comedic and entertainment. They're so stupid, and maybe they don't like being like mocked any longer. And then if that's the I mean, sure, it feeds into their ego, I guess, even negative attention. But if they're realizing they're not getting the visceral reaction that they're getting, then they usually take off. But anyway, so I did post this through the Lake Pontchartrain.
Yep, Lake Pontchartrain.
Yeah, Lake Pontchartrain power lines, which I'm sure everybody has seen before.
Yes, people have seen that before, but it's actually not the main thing I want to share. What I want to share is actually going to be a little bit down. But first, let me just repeat what the objection is, I guess. If you look at the Lake Pontchartrain power lines that are in a perfectly straight line, you will see that they're curving over the curved Earth because the Earth is not flat. Imagine that. Mm-hmm. But the objection is that, well, if I can see the curve of the Earth looking straight ahead, why can't I see it from side to side? And the answer is simple. It's called compressed perspective. Now, Steve, if you scroll down, you won't have to scroll down far, but if you scroll down to the chess pieces on top of the car, let me know when you're there. Okay, so there you see the chess pieces on top of the car. Now the top of that car is curved in both directions, straight and back and left to right. Now, Steve, scroll down a little bit more. As you can see, the white pieces are curving over the car, but looking from left to right, those black pieces look basically straight, level, not curved at all. But scroll down a bit more, and you see it from the black chess pieces perspective. It also curves. Now the white chess pieces look like they're perfectly straight. That is compressed perspective. You're seeing more of the curve within your field of view looking straight ahead than you do side to side. That's why side to side it's more difficult to see the curve, but that doesn't mean the curve isn't there. Last thing, Steve. If you go up to the very top of that page, the very fucking top, go all the way to the top of that shit, like cram it all the way.
It's crammed.
Perfect. On top of the text where it says Lake Punch Train Power Lines demonstrating the curve of the Earth, just on top of that, can you please read the date? That's
July 22nd, 2017.
So this shit has been addressed all the way back in 2017. What the fuck did I just say for the last hour and a half? They don't come up with any new shit.
They don't.
It's the same thing over and over again. What the fuck?
And by the way, yes, I have seen this page before, obviously. And the whole compressed perspective when it comes to this particular model, when you can actually see the fact that, yeah, looking from one point of view, you can see the curvature because of the power lines. You can see that there's a clear curvature, but looking laterally on the horizon, you're not going to see it. Now, from a different perspective, then obviously you would see it curve the other way. This model works. So if the Earth is globular, right, this is what we would expect to see. If the Earth is globular, we would expect to see a straight horizon, then power lines going over the horizon. Right. And then if these were, 90 degrees oriented differently and you were looking from a different perspective, then they would go over that curvature. I don't think 33 has any model that would explain the observations you're seeing. Why? Because they're flat for one, but two, they haven't developed anything that would be even remotely comparable to explain what they're looking at as far as like the whole chess pieces thing. They have no way to explain that on a flat plane. They just couldn't.
And here's the thing, that's why this guy made this page in the first place, because this has been such a repeat thing with flat earthers that it just got so annoying. The guy's like, I'm just gonna make a dedicated page to this shit so you can just click on it. And now the page is literally from 2017, July of 2017, showing compressed perspective. It's a known thing. So if you have compressed perspective, of course, the horizon is going to look quote unquote flat side to side, but directly ahead, there's more of the curve in your view. So then it's easier to see looking dead ahead and with objects going dead ahead rather than side to side. Compressed perspective, it explains it.
So how do we go about, and I know it's difficult, but how do we go about really determining whether somebody like 33 is a true believer of flat Earth or they're just inherently stupid and, I should say if they're, okay, here's the problem. If you're a Poe or you're a true believer, you're still kind of inherently stupid. I don't know which one's worse, but how do we determine based upon the level of their stupidity if they are a true believer or if they're not? How do you make these decisions? I can't do it. It sucks.
Steve,
I don't like it.
You're stuck on Poe's law.
I hate it, man. I don't like it. I want to know if the person I'm talking to honestly believes something or not. I hate not having, and that's what they're going for. Then they win.
You're stuck on Poe's law. You're gonna have to fucking deal with it.
I can't deal, man. I can't cope with this. It's too much.
Steve, I think the question is perhaps more nuanced, or there's more dimensions and facets to it than just whether they believe or don't believe. They may be, like I said, they may be well aware their beliefs unfounded and it's silly. And they may even admit to themselves in their heart of hearts that there's almost no chance they're right. Mm-hmm. That doesn't matter to them. What matters to them is the sense of community. And coming on a show like this and trolling it or whatever, it contributes to the street credibility of them with that community.
Do you agree, though, no matter what that person has believed, whatever, that was a form of trolling?
Yes, in a fashion. And so I think the real question isn't so much to what degree do they think it's really true versus they know it's probably not, but that's not as important to them as the sense of belonging. The question in my mind that's most important is how entrenched are they in that community? How dependent are they on that sense of belonging that they will refuse to look at evidence, that they will try to do whatever they can to insulate whatever shriveled up shred of a belief they actually do have. And so the more they, and I hate to sound like I don't know, cruel about this or clinical about it, but the more they can be separated from that community, or the more that an alternative community can reach out to them and offer them a way out without feeling like they're going to lose face, without feeling like they're going to be further ostracized and totally alone from all sides. If you can offer them that sort of way out, I think that's the best way to get people like Ranty, who might be amenable to that, to get out of it. But the further they are entrenched in that community, the harder that is to do.
No, I
and in
think
some
you're right on
cases,
that.
it may not be practical.
No,
Hang on,
I definitely think
hang
you're
on.
right on that.
I just want to call this out, because this is again something that constantly comes up. 33. Von Braun, a Nazi. Have you ever heard of something called an ad hominem argument?
By the way, somebody said they sent me something, but I'm not sure where they sent it. So,
Hey, Steve, just for the slow dipshits watching at home, can you please explain to the peeps, bitches, and hoes what an ad hominem argument is?
well, okay, so let's get the clarification. An ad hominem argument is a very specific form of argumentation that's in a fallacy, but it's not just an insult or an invective. You can't just, if I just say, look, Rhetoric is a dirtbag piece of shit. It's not an hominem. An hominem argument is when you actually make an argument where you're saying that the person is wrong because of something personal about them. If I were to say, hey, Rhetoric, you're wrong, the earth is flat, and because you're ugly. That's an ad hominem, right? Because the reason that I'm giving for why I'm saying that you're wrong is because of something personal about you, or that you kick puppies or whatever. But if I say, hey, Reds, you're wrong about the flat earth is flat, and I give all these reasons why the earth is flat, be that as made wrong, and you're ugly, that's not an homonym. So what he did was, it wasn't an homonym. Now, if he says, whoever that person is, hey, they're pushing a globe Earth and they're a Nazi, therefore a globe Earth is wrong, that's an unhomonym fallacy.
That's where he's going, though.
Yeah,
what he's trying to say is,
I know. I'm just saying the formal thing. You're probably right for just jumping ahead, but that's what it would be.
That's exactly what I'm doing. I'm jumping ahead to the obvious conclusion.
Right, I got you.
Hey, Steve, remember, the court need not put itself in a position of failing to recognize what is apparent to everybody else.
Well, you got that shit memorized. I'm impressed. Yes,
tell me about
it. That's damn freaking good, dude.
So when it comes time to
wow, that's good.
Address the obvious here, what he's trying to say is that because Von Braun has a not so great past or whatever, Nazi, whatever. Yeah, Nazis are shit. But hey, here's the thing. I can say that Hitler was a piece of shit and he was actually a damn good painter. I could say that Von Braun believed some pretty fucked up shit about the Jews, but that doesn't mean his rockets didn't do their job. Again, one does not connect to the other, dipshit. You're gonna have to do better than that.
Should we say there's argumentium ad caps lock? Is that such a thing?
Argumentium. We're trademarking that shit.
I have one. I have one that.
T-shirt.
Hey, I actually have a fallacy that got a little play. It's called argumentium ad prescriptorium. And I had a version of it, but then I talked to Dr. Safadi, if you know who he is he's a young creationist. But he is a genius. I'll give him props. The dude is smart, but how he comes up with the conclusion the earth is young, I will never know. But anyways, he corrected my Latin a little bit. And so I formulated that to basically mean the fallacy of deriving a prescriptive definition from a descriptive definition. And it seems to got some play. I've actually used it before, and I think it should be something that actually is a fallacy when people do that. I think ad hom. I would have to convert it to Latin though. I don't know how to say caps lock in Latin. Should I Google this shit? Google Translator. How do you say caps lock in Latin? Is there such a thing? Caps lock. It'd be like how do you translate Google to Latin? See, argument
is what it is. Anyway, basically, it all comes down to the same point that I made last time. The main reason I say flat Earth is dead, because we've been down this road before. Again, he comes up with some stupid bullshit, and I send you to a page that was made in 2017 that already addressed it. This is not hard to do. And here's the thing. I knew that website existed once I realized what he was saying instantly. It was on the top of my head. Like, yep, I know exactly where to find the answer to this bullshit, because we've gone down this path before so many times. It is ridiculous how many times we have addressed the same bullshit over and over and over again.
It really is.
And the second reason is that they all go back to the same sources. They all go back to Jism. Even if he says that he doesn't give a shit about Jeranism or whatever, I bet you that at one point in time he was sucking that dude's knob and has carried over some of his arguments. So even if he is being truthful and saying he doesn't like the guy, he's still carrying over some of his arguments because he says the same shit. There's no difference. You know, he makes the CGI claims too. He makes the ad hominem fallacies as well. He also decided to bitch, moan, and complain about the Lake Pontchartrain Causeway and the power lines and not understanding what compressed perspective is. He says the same shit.
Yeah, well, I mean,
he also doesn't understand gravity or relativity or anything like that, and also has this weird hard-on about Big Bang cosmology, even though that's well beyond the Earth, and we're trying to stick to the shape of the fucking Earth.
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. Again, none of them seem to have any novel arguments. I gave the guy too much credit. I thought he was like trying to at least come up with something novel. At least, you know, when it comes to me, as you know, I have tried to add actual novel argumentation to the dialogues on certain things. I have my own arguments. I have two well-established arguments in the communities that have still been undefeated. And I'm not the only one. There's Ben Watkins from Real Anthology that has come up with some pretty creative arguments of his own. And I want to see people try to do this. I want to see people come up with their own creative argumentation. And I don't see fuck all from the flat earth community. It's all derivative. And I mean, derivative is in the exact same fucking thing. It's not even taking something that exists and modifying and trying to correct it or add to it. No, it is just exactly like parroting what other flat earther has said. It has already been debunked 5 years ago.
But that's the thing, Steve. We demonstrated that on this show.
Yeah.
He came up with bullshit in the live chat. I was able to point to a post from 2017 that already debunked it, thus proving my point. He literally argued against himself. He literally proved me right by showing up.
Yeah. Yeah. April gave him a 300-second timeout for a breather that he definitely needed. He's losing his shit in the live chat. Caps for loud, don't mess you correct. Now, I use cap lock to make a point every so often. Like I had a post today where I'm like, I don't believe God exists. I put it in caps because people think that I'm a theist for some reason. I don't know.
So just for clarity, we didn't kick him out, right? I mean, he left.
No, he left on his own. I didn't kick him out.
Yeah. And so he goes back to the chat and starts raging out there because he's not comfortable enough being in here. Again, I just think there's deeper emotional issues driving all of this. But I would be curious, like you said, Steve, like one of the problems or one of the things that makes it sort of boring to go over this again and again is it is the same argument over and over again. I would be very interested to have someone like him on a live stream where I'm tracking ISS and he's actually remote controlling my software.
I would hate. Okay, see, that's why I maybe differ from you. He's not the kind of person I would want doing that because I don't think he has the ability to change his mind. I don't think he has any kind of epistemic ability to reformulate his belief systems. I think it's entrenched. I think that he's just done. There's no DOS-astic capabilities to change your belief blocks. I want somebody who, you know, because say, okay, I really do want to look at the evidence. I really do want to see what you guys are seeing. I want to understand the science you guys are understanding. Those are the people that I want to talk to. And that's where I think you and I differ, because I don't want to talk to some idiot like that I just do not think is going to change their mind no matter how. They literally could be looking down from the earth at the moon. They could be standing on the moon, and they're still going to find some excuse to believe what they believe.
Oh, no, I totally agree with you on that. Yeah. I totally agree with you on that. Like, there's no chance I'll ever change his mind. That's that's not my objective, though. It's just to try to dive deeper into that psyche.
And I get it. I can see the appeal.
That's the scientist part of me. That's the scientist part of me.
I can see the appeal. It's not for me per se. I would rather dive into somebody's psyche who can change their position. Now, again, I'm not saying don't do it. Obviously, hey, you know, do your thing. I don't know if I get the enjoyment out of it as you would as a scientist to try to explain what the fuck these people are thinking. I can't do it.
To me, the appeal. To me, the appeal is to put them in a novel situation where, say, they are having to, in real time, look at ISS through a telescope and try to come up with an explanation for that they are in control of. They're technically in control of the situation, and it goes to a situation where they don't necessarily have cue cards prepared for them on videos that other people have done, because other flat earthers haven't yet put themselves in this situation. So to me, like, creating that novel situation, I think would be interesting to explore that psyche and how they cope with it. To me, it's just personally interesting, but maybe not entirely ethical that I want to do that, knowing that I'm not going to change their mind.
But I would argue that you already have your answer, because and we have direct experience of this. They outright refuse to put themselves into that situation in the first place.
Yes, and so that's another key point. You're right. Someone like him, very unlikely to ever be willing to put themselves in that situation in the first place. Mm-hmm. I've said it before in this very stream, like, that's a standing offer. If he wants to do it, happy to have him on and do it. I don't hear him offering to come on and actually do it, though. And so it's perhaps maybe tautological or something that someone like that would never, agree to do that. But I'd be very interested to find someone who is not even necessarily willing to change their mind on something, but is willing to at least try that kind of new situation just to see how they handle it.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah. And it'd be fun to watch, and I would be thoroughly entertained by it, probably. I just want to have the patience to do it myself, because you are a saint compared to me. I don't have the wherewithal, the patience, the drive, the inclination to deal with people like that. I don't any longer. I mean, it's bad enough they're coming in here and I have to do this shit. But
I have the same level of curiosity here, but and here's the thing, that would be something new.
True.
That would actually actually be something new.
Fair enough. I give you that.
We would not be going over the same watered down bullshit over and over again. We would actually have something new to chew on. There would be some new content for the first time in a long time.
Yeah.
If a flat earther were to go to Cape Canaveral and put their hands on the joysticks and be in control of that situation and, take Astronomy Live up on his offer, that would be new content. And yeah, I too would like to see how they react to that situation, knowing that they are in full control of it, that what they're seeing on the screen is something that is controlled by what is in their hands. Yeah. They are seeing it in real time. They will be the ones to set up the camera. They will be the ones to set up the joysticks. They will be the one to aim and slew the camera and follow the rocket. They would be the one to track ISS. They'll be the one to even measure it and do the math. Yeah. We would walk them through it step by step. We wouldn't lead them. We would let them do it themselves, and that would be something new.
Yeah.
The question
absolutely.
is, will a flat earther actually put themselves in that situation and take us up on our offer?
The offer's out there.
You're right. I think you're right. I seriously doubt that'll happen. And to your point, Red, like, it isn't even just about, oh, look at this light in the sky. Oh, look, it actually has structure. It actually does look like ISS. It goes beyond that. Like, we have multiple mounts here. We now have access to 2 large telescopes that we can use to track it from 2 different places at the same time, and in real time measure the distance. Like, that's something we could do and put them in control of that situation. And you're right. I don't think they'll allow themselves to be put in that situation. But if they did, it would be all new.
I tell you what,
a whole new thing.
The word will get out. I'm sure flat earthers will watch this. If one of them takes you up on it, we will revisit it and we'll go from there, and we'll have a real-time stream where you are telling them how to control the controls, and if they're going to focus on the ISS or whatever they're going to visualize, whatever you want them to see, whatever they want to see, kind of stuff. I would watch that. I mean, I literally would watch that and stream it and be a part of that. I can tell you right now, the chances are very, 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 very slim that any flat earther is going to take you up on it, but it's out there now.
We have a success rate, Steve, of 0% when it comes to shit like that.
I know.
We've made the offer, and it even goes so far as they don't have to buy the equipment. They don't have to even be knowledgeable on how it works, because we'll teach them all of that stuff. Hey, listen, this is how you control it, and now you are in control. Now that you know how it works,
basic stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we'll give them a crash course.
Yeah.
We'll give them a crash course in this shit, and then they can just have at it. Just go for it. Shoot for the goddamn moon at that point.
Dargs H890 for $2 says, "Can I pretend to be a flat earther just to do it?" Oh, that would be cool. But you know what? Maybe. Okay, look. and this is up to Astronomy Live because it's his shit, but if no flat earther takes us up on it, maybe we'll do a special stream, just for shits and giggles to do it if you didn't care. Because like I said, I don't think you can get much play on it. Or we might pick one, a person that might be a Patreon to the channel. I put Patreon back up again. I don't push Patreon for this channel very much. I'm going to start because I there's a lot of things I want to do. Unfortunately, I have to wait for my schedule to come out, and I want to get my schedule 2 weeks in advance. So I cannot plan ahead on the shows as I had been wanting to. I have got to the end of the month in June, but for the most part, I have I was going to stream on the 20th with something on creations. I'm having to reschedule probably on the 19th. But I do have stuff that I have planned. It's just when I'm going to be able to do it. But I'm putting out product on here and hoping people are entertained. If they want to support the channel, I don't expect it anywhere it was, years ago. But unfortunately, people fucked that up. But you know what? We are enjoying what we do, and if people want to come along for the ride and people want to be a part of that, then great. And I appreciate it immensely. And so I am going to put out Patreon. I am going to promote Patreon. If one person's a Patreon or 50 people are Patreon, it's still appreciative. Every single dollar, every single person that watches, I do appreciate. I know Reds has been instrumental in this channel, and the fact that he was willing to come back on and talk about the state of flat Earth. Come on, this is NonSec, baby. This is what was about, right? I mean, it doesn't get any better than this shit. And
it's absolutely amazing. Yeah. But the offer is still open, and we have now at our disposal all the equipment that's needed for people to not even need to travel, because so long as they have compatible joysticks,
right?
Yeah, so long as they have compatible joysticks and can set up port forwarding, they can actually be in control of that situation without even having to travel to Cape Canaveral. Now, again, they would have to accept that we are actually there and not just, pushing through a video game that they're in control of or some hologram or whatever, which is why we would rather prefer them actually be on location. If they're actually on location and actually seeing it for themselves, that's something that they will not be able to get over. So that's what we would like to offer to a flat earther. Go to Cape Canaveral. We will put the joysticks in their hands. They're in control of our equipment, and they will be the ones to film a launch for themselves, thus demonstrating that, rockets actually do what we've been saying they've been doing the entire time. And then afterwards, on certain payloads, I'm sure that Astronomy Live will be more than happy to track the aftermath and show the payload that was just launched.
I know 33 is timed out, but when he comes back, don't time him out so we can ask him if he's willing to do this. Which already know the answer. Come on, we already know. But I mean, let him answer the question when he gets back, because I know he's in a timeout. April Van for 3 Canadian says, have your guests promote their upcomings. I don't know what they've got for upcomings. Reds, you got anything upcoming?
Yes, I do have a few things that I've been trying. So I guess I should give an update on that.
Yeah, I mean, we're well over a 2 hours mark here, so I mean, we got to start wrapping up a little bit. I could talk to you guys forever. I mean, seriously, I could literally do this for another hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. This is what I live for when it comes to this channel. This is fun to me. But unfortunately, I have to keep it easily digestible to people because they tend to tune out after the 2.5 hours.
No, that makes sense. No, and I guess I do owe it to people that have supported me and have had my back, that I owe them an explanation. So I'll go ahead and give that right now. The fact is this, guys. I've had some very important people in my life pass away suddenly. This was very recent. It was, a family member and 2 of my friends that were very close to me. And that was tough, and it still is. So what I did was I took some time to myself, and, because the pain was very, very unbearable. So what I did was I decided that I was going to be selfish for once in my life and take all the time that I needed for me so I can process the loss. And I knew that would mean a lack of content on my channel. I knew that would mean missing out on rocket launches. And I knew that my channel would stagnate. That it was going to happen. I knew that going into this. But I didn't give a fuck. I was going to achieve closure on my terms. And that was a part of my life that I just needed time to myself. So for people wondering, I'm fine. But that's the reason why I've been MIA. And also, I've just been completely fucking busy. I recently, got new opportunities that I want to focus on, and that has been my primary focus, which unfortunately means letting the channel go a little bit. But that doesn't mean that I've stopped trying. Whenever I had the opportunity, like for example, the ISS transit that I recently posted, like maybe a month and a half ago or 2 months ago, there was just an opportunity. I had some time, I had the cameras on me. I said, "Fuck it, let's go ahead and try it." And the same was true today when I tried to track the rocket launch today of the Falcon 9. I was going to upload that this evening, but unfortunately, we had some issues where the rocket went in a different direction, and we're using predictive tracking, and it predicted that it would follow the wrong track. So, whoopsie, that was 6 hours well spent on a round trip. So, yeah. But the long story short is that I do want to get back into it, and I am trying to get back into it. It's just that I still have a lot of responsibilities and a lot of shit that I got to get done, a lot of shit that I need to focus on. And content is going to be very few and far between for the foreseeable future, but it will still happen. I will still upload rocket launches whenever I get out there. I'll still upload transits whenever I have the opportunity to capture one. I'll still upload debunking video if something catches my interest. I will continue to upload content. But in the meantime, what I did was I turned off Patreon. I turned off memberships. I even turned off advertising on my channel because it just wasn't fair to you guys to be paying a monthly fee for memberships when you guys aren't getting anything for your money. That's kind of a dick move. So I turned all that shit off, and it will remain off until I can get some form of schedule established when it comes to my uploads. Once that schedule is established, once I finally have everything settled in my personal life to where I can focus more on my YouTube channel, that's when we may turn that shit back on, or we may not. Maybe I'll just leave the shit off. Who knows? But yes, more content will be uploaded. That much I can guarantee you. And
there's going to be more content with you on the Non-Sequitur Show.
And there's going to be more
which,
content
by the
with
way,
me on Non-Sequitur. Absolutely. Basically, I'm here. I'm here to stay. And I just want to say to everyone who stood by me, who supported me, who had nothing but words of encouragement for me, I just want to say thank you.
How do we do that? Love?
Thank you so much. And I also want to give a huge shout out to a few people. One of them is, of course, Steve. The other one is, of course, Astronomy Live. But I also want to give a shout out to BM Furball. I want to give a shout out to Jared, AT2 Productions. I want to give a shout out to Jay Brown. I want to give a shout out to Nikki. I want to give a shout out to all of those people because they spoke to me at very difficult times when I was just processing the sudden loss of my friends and family. When they passed away, it was very difficult. And they also helped me in other ways. And I've been able to pay it forward and pay them back for that, which I'm very happy that I was given that opportunity to make that happen. But without them, I don't think I would be here talking to you guys because I would still be trying to get some shit together. But because of their help and because of their support, I'm able to come onto a show, have a fucking great time talking to you guys, and then look towards the future and making more content on the channel. So guys, from the bottom of my cold, dead, shriveled up fucking heart, thank you so much for all your support. Thanks for the love. Thanks for the DMs that you all have sent me and saying, that you miss me, that you care about me, that you want to see more content. I appreciate that. Thank you so fucking much for that. I feel the love. I really do. And yes, I will be back. There will be more content. That much I will promise you right here, right now. And of course, more shit on NonSec.
And we'll make sure that we press F for respect. Not that there's actually more to it than that. But, I don't know if you know the whole F for respect thing with that video game. But we're going to give you respect. We're going to put F for you. And yeah, you know what? Honestly, straight up, man, it's an honor to be your friend. I've known you for a very long time. I knew you before you even... Yeah, I knew you back in the day when people didn't even known the mindset you had. And it was, you far exceeded my expectations for somebody who's been, to me, a dear friend. And, I love you like a brother. And I'm glad that other people have discovered that as well. I know you have a huge support network, and I know for a fact that everything you just said is the God honest gospel. I've been there with you. I've seen, how it affected you. I know the things you've had to deal with. So Yeah, anybody who says otherwise, I got to tell them, fuck off. Just straight up fuck off. There's just nothing to be even discussed with those people. But I am glad that you're back. I'm glad that you'll be doing stuff. And yes, I look forward to having you on the channel to do things. I know that you get 100% of all proceeds. I understand that. I've turned everything over to Reds in his name, supposedly. Whatever.
Oh my God, I fucking wish.
Yeah. Because obviously I'm doing this for the big money. Obviously, I mean, I'm doing
dollar bill, y'all. I mean, hey, listen, I turned off my memberships because I'm getting all the money from you, Steve.
And by the way, we still have membership with this channel. If you want the cool green name, you get membership benefits of just a green name, but whatever. But we do have memberships or Patreon. So yeah, I'm going to promote that a little bit because why not? But I still do this because I enjoy it. Astronomy Live, what do you got coming up, man? I hope you don't have the same emotion. You're not going to do your whole story about you right now. I would have run out of time here. I got 15 minutes.
No. So
you
real
can.
quick,
I don't mind, but
no, real quick. Tomorrow night, there's going to be a total lunar eclipse. Thank you, Globe Earth. So,
Globe Earth
I'm going to be
confirmed.
Globe Earth confirmed. So I'm going to be streaming that on my channel, provided the weather cooperates, which it should. So hopefully, knock on wood. We'll have some good footage there tomorrow night, starting at 10:30 p.m. Start a few minutes early, perhaps, to catch the very beginning of the umbral eclipse. But aside from that, upcoming, basically working on software updates for my satellite tracking software, UFO tracking software, which is really just rocket tracking software. And people can find that on my channel. So that's what I offer as a benefit for channel members. If you join as a channel member, you get access to that. Obviously, it's not necessarily useful for everybody, but it supports me, supports the equipment that I buy.
You got some awesome
to be able to make all this happen. So
awesome
the footage you're seeing here comes from a telescope that literally was paid for by the YouTube ad revenue and super chats and all of that from streams tracking the James Webb Space Telescope. So I want to thank everybody who supported me, who has subscribed to my channel, whether you've been able to support it financially or not. I appreciate all of your support. And if you do happen to have an interest in tracking satellites or tracking rocket launches, I do have some tools and resources to try to help with that. And so my goal is to try to provide these as a benefit to the community. My satellite tracking software is open source, available on GitHub, but as a convenience for others and as a way to help monetize that, I've also released the pre-compiled executable, so you don't have to go through the process of installing Python and the various dependencies and packages. You can just straight up download the executable and run it right out of the box right away if you don't have an interest necessarily in the source code or installing Python, which, Steve, as you know, is a whole process, especially if you want to.
That was a learning curve, but I don't regret it. I forgot most. I mean, I could relearn it in a heartbeat. I was like, what am I going to use this for? I see uses for it clearly, but it's just what I personally would use it for. But yeah, Python. If you've never programmed before at all, like no programming experience, if you try to jump into Python, would take a few.
Yeah, and if you have a very complex program that you're trying to run off the source code and you don't have anything installed, it's a whole dance where you're doing pip install this, pip install. You'll sit there for 30 minutes to an hour just running pip installs.
I've had to do that with Linux systems. When I run a virtual machine and I try out different Linux things, and I have to use the pip or there's a couple other versions. It's not pip. It's the other one. For an install when you do it. But they're just get app. Yeah, get well. There's a couple package installers, but So sudo get app kind of stuff. But it's you have to download a lot of the things for dependencies and updates and make sure you have the right version. But anyways, your stuff is great, man. By the way, I'll throw this out to you in a second. Let me read this real quick from AC Castillo. Good to see you, AC Castillo. He says for $2, Red's Rhetoric, miss your Astro stuff. Hope things get better.
They are getting better. They are definitely.
I can hear it in your voice, man. I can literally hear it in your voice. Things are better.
Like I said, I want to really thank Steve, Astronomy Live, BM Furball, 82 Productions, Jay Brown, Nikki. All of them. They had my back in ways that I didn't think was fucking possible. It was great.
Dude, I'd take a bullet for you, man. Not in the chest or face, but at least in the arms.
Of course. I understand there's limitations, but. They had my back in a really, really dark time. And like I said, if you've ever lost a really close family member, the pain, and you could be down in the fucking dumps mentally. And I gotta tell you, it's good to have that little online family and just everyone come together and be like, dude, we got your back. And you know what? Thanks to all of them. Thanks to all of them for having my back, getting my shit together so that I can come back and enjoy, some chats on NonSec and some more content on my channel.
I did mention to people the other day, Reds, and you weren't listening because you don't watch my other channel, whatever. But I had mentioned the fact that last year or so, my mom was very, very, very ill. She was literally on death's door. I got the phone call, if you want to say goodbye to your mother, please, you need to come to the hospital tonight. And I went to the hospital, and my mom was literally frail, dying. She did pull through. It took several weeks. And I don't know what the treatment was for the blood condition, but she had some kind of autoimmune blood deficiency, and they gave her some IgH hormone or whatever, and it took several weeks, and she managed to pull through. But she was on death's door, and the person that I called from the from the hospital, about my mom, who was that, Reds?
Gee, I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, he was the person I called to help me through that. I mean, it was. Again, I'm actually pretty close to my mom, and the thought of losing her was a lot. And even though, again, thank goodness she pulled through, it still was a traumatic time. And so, anybody who thinks otherwise, that there are not real things that go on in people's lives, they clearly are just sociopathic people that don't recognize the fact that Reds and I literally have real life things that we do have had to deal with, and we rely on each other to get us through those things. And I wouldn't want anybody else, to be honest with you.
And that's the thing. These the people that I mentioned, and also a lot of others who just sent me a simple DM on Twitter. I just want them to know that there have been a few DMs that I did get that I did not respond to, mainly because I was in the right state of mind to respond. But I want you guys to know that I did read them, and I do appreciate them. The love that you guys have shown has got me back. It's got me back on my feet. It's got me back ready to, just look to the future. Yes, the loss sucks. It still fucking hurts. I'm going to miss these people for the rest of my life, and I have to accept that they're not coming back. Unfortunately, they passed away, but life goes on. And I got to look at the here and now, got to look at the future. And the future has a lot of rocket launches, a lot of ISS transits, a lot of stupid shit that I'm sure has to be debunked. And it will. There's, yes, it's good to mourn. And that's why I did. And I had my closure. I'm very thankful for the fact that I had people there to support me while I was going through the mourning process. But now that we're here, let's go ahead and have a kick-ass time. And I got, like I said, Steve, Astronomy Live, and others to thank for getting me to this point. And I truly thank these people. Thank you guys for helping me out.
April Von Ron, 50 Canadian. Wow. Thank you, April. That's sweet of you. Who is my mod and has been one of the better mods, to say the least. I mean, she literally goes out of her way to try to show up. She might be like, it's late, it's this, but I'm going to show. And it's just, I just, for some reason, modding for certain people, they really, take us very seriously. And I really appreciate that. I really, honest to God, appreciate that. And by the way, I'm kind of the same way. I mod for some other channels. And when they stream, I try to show up to mod for them, right? Because they show me the same courtesy to mod for me. So when people are streaming, I mod for them. I will try to go out of my way to go mod for them. And it's just kind of a reciprocity kind of thing. And so it means a lot to me, April, that you show up to mod, and obviously you're very, very kind for your donation here. She says, this was the epitome of what the NSS is. I agree. I think this was definitive of what we remember from the good old days with Non Sequitur. Thank you so much. What do you guys think of the new pick of Sagittarius A star? I'm personally in love with it. The 3 bright spots, the way they compiled it, the angle we see it, chef's kiss, and kiss you back.
We needed a telescope the size of the Earth, and at first people were saying that's impossible, and then we hold my fucking beer.
All it really proved is that a black hole is like the Ubuntu symbol, right? The symbol for Ubuntu. That's what it proved. I'll tell you, I did do an episode with Landon on this particular topic, as April knows, because she was over there at the time. So if people want to go on my other channel, link in the video description, or just find my name. I and Landon, Kurt Knoll, did a show the other day on atheological a-holes talking about Sagittarius A. And matter of fact, I had a guy come in today that does security as well. and we were just sitting there talking, and I mentioned Landon, and he claims to have known Landon, or he had met Landon, and he's well familiar with Landon. The guy was familiar with a lot of actual stuff with computers, and so he might have been telling you the truth. But go check it out. But I will throw this out there. I'm probably going to have Dr. Hugh Ross on to talk about the James Webb Telescope and Sagittarius A star, probably next month. And so if you can hold off then, April, that's going to be a cool show. I do invite Astronomy Live and or Red's Rhetoric to join us for that particular episode if you're interested, to talk about to talk about James Webb. We just have to come up with a date that works for everything. And so I've already got that kind of worked out. I have that, like I said, I have a lot of respect for Hugh Ross. I don't agree with him, obviously, on a lot of things, but he has a PhD in astrophysics, so he does know what he's talking about in that department. And I think to have him come on and talk about it would be amazing. But anyways, as far as as my personal view on the whole Sagittarius A, I mean, like Red said, it took something the size of the freaking planet to see something with an angular resolution would be equivalent of taking a photograph of a donut on the moon. I mean, it is so small of what an angular size to picture this in any way, even in the non-optical, even in the radio waves. It's just mind-blowing that we have that kind of technology nowadays. And can you imagine, imagine 1,000 years from now what technology would have. I mean, come on, it's going to be apples and oranges probably. But
the next step, I think, in this point is going to be the gravitational lens telescope. That's going to be the next quantum leap.
Yeah, or some kind of laser LIGO system where they have lasers in space and they're able to do gravimetric waves and see the gravitational waves and then visualize it in some kind of a picture kind of stuff. And I think gravity waves are going to be extremely important as far as scientific theories coming up in the next couple hundred years. That in quantum. But again, hey, maybe the Earth's flat and science is just full of shit. This guy, 33, thinks that there's Disney characters on Mercury and Pluto. The jig is up, man. Yes, Disney rules everything. Disney made us do this. Disney they fabricated the whole Pluto thing. It doesn't really exist. Damn it, it's CGI. Yeah. Sorry, we had a good run. We had a good run,
Listen,
man.
That 33 dude thinks that Star Wars is a documentary. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to wrap this up with the just a TLDR of the whole thing. The number one reason that Flat Earth is dead, not to say that debunking Flat Earth isn't entertaining. That shit will always be funny. So number one reason Flat Earth is dead, because they constantly rehash the same shit over and over and over again, as was demonstrated tonight when that 33 guy decided to bring up some bullshit. I was able to point you to a page made in 2017 that had already addressed it. Point fucking made. And the number two reason that Flat Earth is dead is because it all goes back to the same fucking priestly gatekeepers that originally pushed that bullshit in the first place. In other words, I'm tired of arguing with puppets. Please come up with some of your own shit, or do something that's actually out of the ordinary, like, I don't know, show up to a launch and take Astronomy Live up on his offer. So unless you guys do that, I'm perfectly confident and comfortable saying that Flat Earth is dead, although it is still entertaining, and that's fine.
And by the way, we had a vote, and then we're in this. We had a vote. I was like 500 people, I think, voted whether Earth is dead. I think it was like 70-something%. So it was pretty significant. But the reasons some people
said Flat Earth is dead.
Yeah. It was overwhelming that Flat Earth was dead. But the people that thought it wasn't, it's just like the residual stuff. But I'll take a new vote later on to see. Probably tomorrow. I'm not going to bother with it tonight, probably. But well, I don't know. We'll see. But we'll see if people have changed their position on it at all. But as far as my vote, Flat Earth is dead. I don't got a flying fuck about it. However, we will have you on, Reds, to have a discussion with another Flat Earther, maybe one that can actually bring something new to the table. I know that's going to be hard pressed, and we'll probably never see your ass again because no Flat Earther is going to take us up on this shit. But if you know a Flat Earther that has a new novel argument, God, I would be thrilled to death to hear it. I really would. And with that, guys, thank you for watching. Like I said, become a patron on the channel would be really appreciated, or become a member. The only reason I prefer Patreon is because I don't do Patreon only. Member only stuff, and so whatever. As long as you're helping out and you're showing up, I'm happy, and I appreciate it very much, guys. So with that, I'm going to bid you guys good night, and thank you for watching.